It's time for Shawn and Maya in the morning.
Quick pitch to Walter, looking for the record, cuts back, he's got it, he's out of it at 25 to the 26-yard line. Walter Payton becomes the National Football League all-time leading rusher.
Jordan, open, Chicago with the lead. The Chicago Bulls have won their sixth NBA championship.
Chicago has won the Stanley Cup. Palmero over the head of Jenks. Uribe charges, throws, out! And the White Sox have won the World Series.
A little bouncer slowly toward Bryant. He will glove it, go to Rizzo. It's in time. And the Chicago Cubs win the World Series.
What up, what up, what up? Welcome to Shawn and Maya in the morning on this hump day edition. Guys, I'm your boy, the Superback Shawn Sierra, and I am fired up. I'm feeling what a wonderful day. Great day yesterday at the old ballpark. Phenomenal. I was as the intro was going, I was just scrolling through some of the pictures from yesterday. Man, it was a fun time. Great. Reconnected with people I haven't seen in a minute. Here's the thing. Unfortunately, sometimes, life gets in the way and you don't get to see people, and we all do a poor job of keeping up with people, and there's certain people that I haven't seen since last year at one of the tailgates and outings. I'm like, you know what? I've been a jerk. I've been a jagbag. You know what? I promised that this year won't go by. I won't be that dude. I'll make sure that I stay in touch and reach out and vice versa. So it was really good to see. I was looking through the pictures and just like, all you got to do is send a text every once in a while. I was like, hey, what's up? Just thinking about you. Just want to say hi. Nothing big. Hit me back when you can. Let people know that you're thinking about them. And it was really cool yesterday. Out at Sox Park yesterday, the tailgate was off the chain as usual. It was a little different, but it was definitely off the chain. Guys, thanks for tuning in. I'm your boy, the Superback Shawn Sierra. And you know what? If you're watching on Facebook Live, well, then I guess you found us on Facebook. And if you're not watching it, you're not subscribed to us on Facebook. What? All right, peep this. Go to SportsZone Chicago, okay? Type in or go to Facebook, go to SportsZone Chicago. All right, click the like button. All right, and now you're following SportsZone Chicago. And for a goof, why not? Since you're already on Facebook at that point, why don't you go to Shawn and Maya in the morning? Check out our show's Facebook page. You can check that out, like that page as well. And now you'll be following the show's page also. If you're watching this on our YouTube channel, excellent. Okay. And if you're not subscribed to our YouTube channel, come on, get with the program. All right, here's what you do. You go to YouTube, you type in SportsZone Chicago. Okay. You click the subscribe button. And now you're following SportsZone Chicago. And not only do you get Shawn and Maya in the morning 3 days a week, but you get our other 5 live shows throughout the week as well. And they're all archived there on that platform. If you're watching us on the app, that is even more excellenter. If you haven't downloaded the app, what are you doing? All right, you got to go. Where do you get your apps from? Google, Amazon, iTunes, Google Play, Walmart, Kmart, 7-Eleven, JCPenney, Macy's, Montgomery Ward, Zayre, Target. Where do you get your apps from? All right, you type in SportsZone Chicago, you download it, you take us with you on the go, and not only do you get Shawn and Maya in the morning 3 days a week, not only do you get our other 5 live shows throughout the week, but they're all archived there. In addition to them being archived there, you will also get a slew, and I mean a slew of articles, thanks to our guy Clarence Council III. Big shout out to Clarence for keeping everybody updated with Chicago's articles on Chicago sports. You can also tweet the show. You can tweet us at SportsZone Shy. That's CHI at SportsZone Shy. Now, if you want to follow me, just me personally online, you want to know what I did? Let me tell you what I did. You want to know what I did? Here's what I did. I made it nice and easy for you folks. Nice and easy. One handle for Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, Snapchat, the Snapper, all one handle at the Shawn Sierra. If you want to follow my lovely co-host, Maya Kai, you can follow her on Facebook and Twitter at the Sports Chica. You want to follow her on Instagram because you do it just for the gram, because you're an IG, or just follow her at Maya_Kai. That's MAYA_AKAI. I'd be remiss if I didn't bring him out. He's a man that makes everything run smoothly here at SportsZone Chicago. He's the man behind the curtain, the Wiz, some people call him, but I like to call him my Puerto Rican Swiss Army knife, Ivan Vargas. Ivan, what's up, Papa? How are you?
What's up, Shawn? Congratulations, opening day victory. That was dope. I mean, it was you could feel the energy at the ballpark. I was tuning into the Cubs and watching what they were doing, but they played at the same time, so it was like you gotta switch channels. Thank God for the picture in picture. So I'd have to just press the one button. But yeah, it was exciting, man. It was really, really exciting. They got the victory. Here's how it sounded for people who didn't watch it.
Home opening day, readies the cameras. A strikeout is what they want footage of. And a strikeout is what they get. Sox win 3-2.
Oh, dude, that's chills.
That's what I was like, man, everybody was pumped. There was a lot of energy, just like there was at Wrigley. I mean, even though Wrigley was kind of shitty, there was a lot more energy at White Sox Park, just because you guys are contenders. Like, you guys are legit contenders, and everybody's expecting you to contend. Tell me how you feel about Lubov.
Come on, man. That son of a gun.
Just stay healthy,
monster.
Lubov. Just stay healthy, Lubov.
That's it.
The guy is just, like I said, there will be I'm a Cubs fan, but I'll have like a Lubov little figurine somewhere. There's gonna be a Lubov figurine somewhere down here as a collectible, because that dude is out of his mind. And Seiya Suzuki, like Armando said, continues to stay
see ya twice.
See ya 2 times, baby.
See ya. You know what?
Yeah, so it was great stuff. Good stuff by both clubs yesterday.
This is the fun part, because we can shit talk each other all day, but we also got mad respect for each other. We know we're good. We're smart baseball people, and all the shit talking we have back and forth, it's all in fun. But when we see someone with talent, like you recognize Lubov and me recognize Sia, man, it don't take a whole day to recognize Sunshine. And Sia came in and did not waste any time with you guys. And you know what, this dude is right now. And that's one of the top of the morning questions we're going to talk about. Is he the new face of the franchise? All right. I know you still got Wilson Contreras there, but you know what? He might be traded. He might be, they're going to arbitration with the dude. I don't know. Sia is happy. You got to love the little, around third base. I think that's awesome. And right now it's fun. All right. Things at sports in Chicago right now. All right. Is that a good point? Okay. Our Bulls. All right, we picked them to finish 4th, 5th, or 6th before the season started. They're 6th. All right, exactly. Right in where we picked them. They start the playoff series on Sunday. The Bears got a new regime. Okay, they're anticipating, or they're working frantically to get ready for the draft in a couple of weeks at the end of this month. Okay, so and then both Chicago teams are 3-1. Okay, and I get it. It's a very, very small sample size, but God damn it, man, it feels good. It feels good to have both baseball teams good, because now the shit talking goes to another level. We're better than you. No, we're better than you, and we both mean it. Like, oftentimes it was always there'd be one team that was dominant. When the Cubs were dominant from 14, 15 through 17, 18. All right, you were talking shit to us. They really didn't have much to say. All right, the last year you guys were down. You didn't have much to say. Now both teams are good. All right. And as I said, we definitely recognize the talent. All right. We definitely recognize talent. And, it just makes it a lot more interesting. And there's a lot of respect for both sides. It's just, we got our team, you got yours, and so it's a really good time right now. And if these two teams continue to play the way that they're playing, wow. And we'll probably have 2 playoff baseball teams here in Chicago come September, October, right when Bear season's kicking off. So this is what we want. This is what we were hoping for. Listen, damn it, we're the 3rd largest city in the country. We need to act like it. Our sports teams need to act like the 3rd largest market in the country. They need to spend money. Okay, they need to pull out all the stops. Okay, and you saw yesterday what happened in Sox Park. The White Sox White Sox fans have been notorious for, if you don't put a good product out, we're not coming. Okay, if you don't put a good product out, bump that. We are not coming. And you know what? The Sox have answered. All right, they've answered the bell. And in the last couple of years, opening day has been sold out. The vibe at Sox Park is electric. Fans are excited. Man, if you follow me on Facebook, you will have seen I went live yesterday from the tailgate. Man, just about all the lots were full. Just about all the parking lots were full. I was in lot F yesterday, and I gave we were literally the northeast corner with my guy Hirsch. Big shout out to Hirsch and Claudia and Vida Amor, her daughter, and a big shout out to Mr. Mosqueda, who had passed away, and this was his first time not being in a Sox opener with his kids. It was tough, a little rough for them, but it was good. So we're in there, and I showed you the rest of the parking lot. It was full. It was full, and it was crazy because you had energy, the vibe, the feel. You could just feel the electricity and the good vibes that Sox fans had. There were DJs all throughout the parking lot. Grills were going, music was blaring, people were dancing, drinks were being drunken. Borrow from T-Pain. It was fun, man. It was really, really good, and it's like I said, it's great to have two baseball teams who are doing well, and in different fashion. Okay, and I love it. I can't wait to see it. Listen, we have a phenomenal show, but we need you to get interactive. And man, we got people on the text line already. So whatever platform you're watching this on, whether it be Facebook, whether it be YouTube, whether it be our app, just leave a question or comment right there. It'll come up on a screen, and my super producer Ivan will get it up here on the broadcast. And you know what? It's important that you guys leave your questions, comments, because they get incorporated into the show. Okay. And that's what makes the show so great is your participation, your cooperation, your questions. And we love having you guys ask questions, and hopefully we can answer them for you. We got Cornelius Squalls in the house. What's up, Papa? Armando Lara Jr. in the house. How you doing, baby? Michonne Walls is in the house. Hassem HR is in the house. OC in the house, baby. Lewis Robert is a big green giant marching through the countryside. 34-ounce clubs, a cannon arm, Ferrari wheels. It's just one dude. He is. We're going to talk more about Lou Bob. And you know what? One of my guys, my former colleagues at Little Village, Jason, texted me or he posted like, dude, don't call him that. He doesn't like Lou Bob. I don't know why. I don't know. I gotta ask him or text him and be like, why don't you like Lou Bob? But anyway, yeah, Lewis Robert had a day yesterday, folks. He had a day. And one of the things that we talked about, let me just say this, and then I won't go too far into before we get into the top of the morning. One of the things that I've talked about is using the weapons that you have. Okay. And for the White Sox, one of their biggest weapons is speed. Okay. You got Tim Anderson who could steal. You have Lewis Robert who can steal. You have TA7, Tim Anderson. Did I say Tim Anderson? Anyway, Tim Anderson, Lewis Robert, Yoan Moncada. Okay. You have guys who can steal. And, to see them not run is a criminal. That is not using your full arsenal. Okay. If you saw what happened yesterday, hustling down the line. Okay. And you saw Lou Bob score the third run. Well, how did that happen? Well, because he stole second. And then not only did he steal second, he stole third. Okay. So then there was one out, runner on first and third. Eloy hits into a tailor-made 6-4-3 double play. And you know what? Eloy beats it out. Eloy looked like there was a certain sense of urgency. Let me say that. I feel, and it's only their first home series, second series of the game, literally their fourth game of the year. And I feel a sense of urgency from these guys. To me, that's exciting. That's awesome. Okay? Because you understand that the moment is now. The moment is now. Okay, this is your year. And you have to understand that early on, these games When you have a chance to beat up on bottom feeders, you have a chance to to stack your wins, you stack them. You stack them. And that's what they're doing. All right? Hassan, you're damn right. Adam Ingo can steal running backwards. I almost forgot about him. You got guys who can run the bases well. So to not use the speed is a dereliction of duties. And to have Lubob, and Lubob said he's got the green light. Shit, go. Who on here just put 30/30. 30/30. I think Lubob is can easily be a 30/30 guy. 30 home runs, 30 stolen bases. I think Lubob, if he stays healthy, he'll be a 40/40 guy.
I think he might hit a ball onto the concourse.
He might. No, he's got that power. He's got that power. How crazy would that be, dude, if he hits a ball onto the concourse and steals his 40th base in the same game? That would be insane. That would be insane. So I'm loving this kid. And I'll tell you what I'm not seeing from him. I'm not seeing arrogance. I'm not seeing overconfidence. I'm not seeing lack of effort or lack of focus. That's what I'm not seeing from him. And that I'm excited about. Okay? It seems right now that he is zoned in, that this whole team is locked in. Okay? It seems like this whole team is locked in. I couldn't be happier, okay, about that situation because, when you come in and listen, there's a lot of younger guys, on this team, guys who've won a lot of individual awards, but you haven't won shit when it comes to a team. All right, you won the division. Okay, great. You want $1? What does that do you? OC, what's up, baby? What do you think about trading Vaughn to Oakland? Nope. I will be very unhappy. Olaf, no, he's not going. He's not going. Rick Hahn came out the other day. Bob Nightingale tweeted yesterday. Rick Hahn came out and said they are not interested in trading Vaughn. He's not going anywhere. And I think that was a big holdup. That is the big holdup in the Frankie Montas deal. The White Sox were in negotiations with the A's to get Frankie Montas. He finished 6th in the Cy Young voting last year. But they're not letting Andrew Vaughn go. He's part of this team this year. He's a big part. And that's the holdup. And so my thought is, okay, come back. Let's revisit this closer to the deadline. If Oakland is out of it again, they may be looking for a fire sale. It might be a little easier to give a couple of your lesser prospects, okay, up, and Oakland might take them. But no, OC, Vaughn's not going to Oakland. Rick Hahn has said it. He's not on the table. So, I am, man, this is a good, as I said, good start to the year. And it was fun yesterday, seeing a whole bunch of people hanging out with friends. And that's what baseball is about, man. And I'm not taking a shot at the north side at all. All right. I imagine if you guys had the ability to tailgate. You know what I mean? You know how awesome that would be for you guys? I know you can go into bars and everything, but when you're in bars, you're compartmentalized in this place. This guy, you're compartmentalized in this bar. And these people are compartmentalized. When there's a tailgate, you take a walk, you do this. You know what I mean? You don't have to show your ID to get back in or get back in a line if there's a line. And you know how it is tailgating from Bears games. You just walk around and imagine Wrigley Field having a couple parking lots where you tailgate. That shit would be insane.
First of all, yes, it would be insane. That is unique because we did the tailgating up in Milwaukee. I did that. That was like the second time I did that. But like you said, the ability to go, it's a different type of vibe. You know what I mean? It's a different experience. The bars, at Wrigley, everybody's always got a beverage in hand in a red Solo cup, I'm sure, walking down the street. But yeah, it's just a different experience. Tailgating's fun. The tailgating at Sox Park is fun. DJs everywhere in the parking lot. It's a unique experience. So like both places got their own thing. But yeah, if we were able to tailgate, God, I don't know if you wouldn't have a game where people weren't arrested. Like that's just how I see it. Somebody's gonna be doing something dumb somewhere.
It would be. So it's Cub fans, you get to tailgate during Bears games, so that's fine. But just think of how cool it would be to tailgate in the summer. And for a couple of Bear games, it's usually nice. For the first couple of home games before the weather turns, if you're lucky, maybe get 3 or 4 home games in there. Before the weather gets a little too, Bear weather-ish, So, but yeah, it was awesome yesterday. The team, what a victory! And I just cannot say enough about Louis Robert and his performance yesterday. He put the league on notice. He let everybody know, I'm Louis Robert, and there's nothing you can do about it. I'm Louis Robert, and you're not. Like I shouldn't say single-handedly, because Eloy sprinting down that first base line to avoid the double play, to beat out the double play, which allowed Lou Bob to score, because there was one out. He turned a double play, they're out of the inning, but Eloy busting his ass down the first base line looked amazing. This is what I'm talking about. So, and then, we talked to the north side, see ya. Right. You guys couldn't get much going offensively. So what does he do? He's like, don't worry, guys. I'm new. I'll carry the slack for a little. You know how you have the new guys, whatever football team or baseball team or basketball team, the new guys that got to carry everybody's bags. It's kind of a little hazing thing, or rite of passage. Say I said, I got your back. I got this, guy. Don't trip. Don't worry. I got you. And great time. So listen, here's what we're gonna do. You know how we do, folks. The first segment of every show is called Top of the Morning.
Just when you want it. Top of the morning to you. Top of the morning to you. Top of the morning to you.
Top of the morning segment. You know what that means? That means we got to bring in our guy. We got to bring in your guy. We got to bring in the guy. We got to bring in the guy who's dressed quite dapper. James Bond. Today, look at this dude. He's decked with a shawl collared tux. He's rolling. He's ready to go, baby. He's the guy you can find on Twitter at ACA Joel. Let's bring him in. Joseph Phillips. Joseph, what's up, Papa? How are you?
What's up, Papa? God bless. How y'all doing?
Man, what's with the James Bond attire today?
Oh, man, it's all about a little bit of urban, a little bit formal, a little bit of country,
A little bit of rock and
a little
roll?
bit city.
Dude, you look good, man. You look good.
Thanks, brother. Yeah, you gotta set an example. Gotta set a standard, right?
Yeah. So
They used to seeing guys walking around with their pants sagged and looking crazy.
I hear you.
And the just woke up look will never be in style.
Hey, I hear you. Hey, well, listen, let's get right to it. The first top of the morning topic that we have today, the Cubs.
Look, shut up.
The Cubs,
I can't
baby.
hear you.
All right, well, I don't know what to tell you. The first top of the morning topic, the Cubs. The Cubs beat the Pirates 2-1 yesterday. Smiley, he gets the win. He's 1-0. He gave up 5 innings pitched, 3 hits, no runs, a walk. Robertson gets the save. Suzuki stepped up big time yesterday for the Cubs. Suzuki, 2 home runs yesterday, his second and third home runs of the season. And you know what? He also had 2 RBIs, giving the Cubs their 2 runs that they needed. Big win by the Cubs yesterday. Big game by Suzuki.
For making history yesterday. I think he got 8 RBIs in 4 games.
Yep.
Look, at the end of the day, I'm afraid to even get too excited because, man, when I'm talking about this guy has been putting on the show, I gotta give it to him, man. Like he's doing really well right now. I know it's not gonna always last like this, but man, that approach is a monster. His approach is definitely a monster.
His approach is good, and he's got he's again, let's not forget he's a vet. I know he's a rookie here, but he's played professionally overseas, and it's easier for a guy 26, 27, to have that approach, to have a patient approach, to have a good approach at every at bat. And he's doing that. He's doing that well. And right now he's keeping you guys afloat right now with a 3-1 record. How long it lasts, I don't know. We're gonna have to find out, because what happens is, there's gonna be a book on him, right? That's gonna get out. Pitchers are gonna see it. They're gonna get him some video and watch and figure him out. And he's gonna have to make an adjustment. Here's his first home run from yesterday, for me, it's a great start. So my question is, how are you going to adjust? I'm talking to Suzuki. How is he going to adjust once the major league pitchers adjust to him? He has to make a readjustment off of their adjustments. And I can't wait to see it. Again, this is not a rookie. This is not a guy. I mean, he's a rookie here, but it's not his first time playing. He's played overseas. So he's going to understand that people are going to get the book on him. And, it's a lot easier as a veteran to say, okay, to make changes, because you're comfortable in yourself. A rookie, you may have a little more difficulty, okay, as a younger player. But for him, I just want to see how he adjusts once the league adjusts, because I think it's going to be a thing of beauty once he adjusts off their adjustments.
Yeah, I'm not putting too much stock in his first 3 or 4 games. And like I said, right now, Suzuki's at an unbelievable pace. It's just unreal what he's doing right now. So I'm not going to put too much hype into it at the moment. I'm going to just enjoy what he does at every individual at bat. Now, he may phase off. He probably finish off like a 250, 270 hitter once they start catching on to him. But if he can get past that cold spell and continue to hit, man, we probably see something we never seen before.
Well, you have a budding superstar right now, that's for sure. There's no ifs, ands, or buts about it. He is a budding superstar, just ready to take the reins and be the face of this franchise. And you know what? I'm happy for you guys. You guys have a legit hitter, a legit star. And you know what? It's going to be fun. It's going to be fun watching him develop. It's going to be fun watching you guys win some games. You're probably going to win some games that you shouldn't win, all right, because of players like him. So you know what? Good luck for the rest of the summer. And we'll be here talking smack the whole way as Sox fans, and I'm sure you'll be talking smack to us. And that's what's great about it. When both teams are good and you talk smack, it's more so out of a respect thing than anything. I respect I love my team, but I respect yours and vice versa.
I'm sorry, Shawn. Could you repeat that? I couldn't. Hey, class.
Yeah. So, here's what we're going to do. We're going to take a quick break, and on the other side of the break, we're going to continue with top of the morning topics. So don't go anywhere, folks. Keep it locked right here. Shawn and Maya in the morning on SportsZone Chicago.
AutomotiveMap.com presents the Sports Flash on the SportsZone Chicago.
Going back is Marisnik back toward the left field fence, and that ball is going to be a home run. His second of the day. Suzuki has done it again.
The action on the Cubs radio network 2-1 the win over the Pirates on Tuesday. Say it's Suzuki with a pair of home runs. He connected for leadoff shots in the 5th and the 7th. The series continues today. Righty Kyle Hendricks starts for the Cubs against Pirates righty Zach Thompson. The White Sox nipped the Mariners 3-2. Louis Robert with his first home run of the season, a tie-breaking drive in the 6th to win it. Chicago extended their winning streak to 3 games with a victory in their home opener. The Sox will send left-hander Dallas Keuchel to the mound today against 2021 American League Cy Young Award winner Robbie Ray. NHL last night, the LA Kings beat the Blackhawks 5-2 at United Center. For lightning fast sports updates, download the Score app. It's free and one of the most popular sports apps in North America. I'm Chuck Sanders. That's the Sports Flash on the SportsZone Chicago.
This is the feeling you get when you have a dedicated Fidelity Wealth Planner looking at your full financial picture. Someone working with you on a flexible, comprehensive wealth plan based on your goals, helping you balance risk and reward. It's being able to enjoy today because you have a plan for the future. This is the planning effect from Fidelity. Learn more at fidelity.com/wealth. Investment minimums apply. Fidelity Brokerage Services, LLC.
At Tub of Towels, we started with the toughest messes and quickly realized Tub of Towels heavy-duty cleaning wipes can clean just about anything, like stubborn brake dust, spilled paint, even permanent marker. There's literally thousands of uses. Proudly made in the USA with over 35,000 five-star reviews. Find Tub of Towels heavy-duty cleaning wipes at your local auto parts store, the Home Depot, Lowe's, and more. Look for the big yellow tub.
One, two. That ball's tagged center field. Robert going back to the warning track. Robert is there to make the catch and collide with the fence. That ball threatened to leave. Luis had other ideas than that becoming a hit. 2 down.
This was a terrific play by Luis. Hopefully he's okay after that collision with the wall, grimacing a little bit. Right by Xfinity, he catches it, collides with the wall, gets it back in. Fine play by Luis in center field.
Welcome back to Shawn and Maya in the morning at SportsZone Chicago. That clip courtesy of NBC Sports Chicago. And I'll tell you what, man, Lou Bob did everything we needed him to do. It was Lewis Robert Day yesterday at Sox Park. Is exactly what it was. Lewis Robert Day yesterday at Sox Park, and I'll tell you what, it was a great thing to see as we move on to the next top of the morning topic. The next top of the morning topic is the White Sox. They beat the Mariners 3-2 yesterday. Vince Velasquez, he's no decision. He gave us 4 innings, 4 strong innings, 2 hits, 1 earned run, 3 walks, 2 Ks. Hendricks comes on with the save. He gave up a run, unfortunately. He's 1 for 2 in save situations, 1 inning pitch, 3 hits, an earned run, and 3 strikeouts. As we talked about, Lewis Robert went 1 for 3, hit a home run, and Oppo to right center field, drove in 2 runs yesterday. Drove in an RBI, his second RBI of the year. Had 2 stolen bases, and just one heck of a day for Lewis Robert yesterday.
Yes, he's definitely a superstar in Luis Robert. Excellent hitter, knows how to work the count, as we predicted from last year and the year before that he was going to be a star, and that's exactly what you're seeing now. And it's not a surprise because the lineup is pretty loaded from top to bottom, and you guys are pretty much living up to the expectations of being a team that Rick Hahn pretty much built and put together. And then also you're getting solid pitching performances in addition to good bullpen help, and that could be a recipe for success.
It can be, and hopefully it's a recipe for success all year long. One of the other things in the next top of the morning topic, it's the pregame, the first pitch. Harold Baines stole the show. So they had Harold Baines yesterday. They had Ozzie Guillen out there. They had Bo Jackson out there. It was just basically a who's who of recent White Sox baseball. And I didn't realize that Harold Baines had 2 transplants, had a heart transplant and kidney transplant. And wow, to see him out there, and personally, he's my favorite Chicago White Sox. To see him out there was we went really nutso for him when we got it. I think that was good to see him out there. Glad to see Harold back. Again, he's a fan favorite, and it was just shocking to hear about the health issues he was dealing with, and luckily and thank the Lord, he is healthy and back.
Yeah, I remember when I was younger, my friends had a Harold Baines. I don't know if you remember this, the Harold Baines Happy Meal toy from McDonald's, and I thought that was the coolest thing. He looked just like him. I was like, man, this is a brother with his own action figure. Because he can hit with the best of them. And what was he, a lifetime 300 hitter? And pretty much he knew how to put that bat to that ball. And I hope he gets well. I hope he gets well soon. He's a high character guy. He's very quiet, never really said anything. Didn't do a lot of talking. He was like them old school dads in the 80s, you know, like you know how they got that look, like they'll whoop you if you keep talking back. But
Yeah,
yeah,
so
he's definitely a good player.
yeah, he's a Hall of Famer. Remember, he just got elected to the Hall of Fame
Yes.
last year. Again, he's my favorite White Sox player, above clearly above Ozzie, but I love Ozzie. I love Ozzie, but Harold they're second to none. He's second to none in my book. The next top of the morning topic, that's such good news for the Chicago White Sox. Lucas Giolito and AJ Pollock were both placed on the 10-day IL list. This will definitely force Lucas to miss 2 starts, probably 3. AJ Pollock pulled a groin, but luckily he was leaving anyway. He was leaving yesterday to go on paternity leave. Him and his wife were expecting a child. So hopefully over this paternity leave, he's able to rehab and get some treatment on his hamstring. So when he does come off of paternity leave, he'll be able to get back out there in the right field and show up right field for us.
Yeah. I'm sorry, Shawn. I couldn't hear the question for some reason. The volume is low.
I was just talking about AJ Pollock he's going on paternity leave with a tender hamstring, and hopefully when he comes off of paternity leave, his hamstring will be better and he'll be able to get back in the right field.
Oh wow, yeah, that is perfect. Maternity leave is the perfect time to to get healed up, and hopefully he feels better because I know those hamstrings ain't no joke, especially if you constantly have to play on it. So, and I hope that he has a healthy baby. His wife is okay, and that he get to enjoy this time, with his family.
Yeah, so that's going to be huge. We'll see that. Well, the next top of the morning topics: the Bulls head to Milwaukee for Game 1 of the playoff series. The rest of the series days and dates will be announced at a later time. But Game 1 is Sunday in Milwaukee, taking down the defending champion Milwaukee Bucks. Tip off at 5:30 on TNT. What chances do you give the Bulls of winning this series? And if you do give them any chance, what do they have to do? What must they do to win this series?
First point I want to make when it comes to the Bulls, if they are going to have any success against the Milwaukee Bucks, they're going to have to run their offense through Patrick Williams. Now, I saw something in Sunday's game when he played against the Minnesota Timberwolves. He had 35 points, but most of the time he had the ball. He had the ball in his hand. It was a success, and that's what we need from Patrick Williams. We need him to be aggressive. We need him to be confident. We need him to play hard on both ends of the floor. All of those things are important. And then also we need him to go at Giannis. Don't back down to the challenge that Giannis brings to us. Because I hear a lot of people talking on the radio, oh, here comes Giannis. We need to bow down. They're going to be scared. Like, if you play the right type of defense against Giannis, I'll throw a boxing one on him, okay? Make him pick his dribble up at full court where he can't just run you over and go to the hole for easy layups. He's not a jump shooter. Make him into a jump shooter. And then force the other guys to beat you.
I hear you, but they have guys who can beat you. They got Chris Middleton. They have Lopez. I know he's not much of an offensive power, but he's a rim protector. And you have Drew Holiday. There's other guys. Chris Middleton, more specifically, is a dude who can beat you. So it's I like your theory. You know what? Take the ball out of Giannis's hands. And Chris Middleton, you think you're the next coming of whatever, then you know what? Just show it. Then you beat us. Okay, you beat us because we have some defensive player guys who play some stud defense, and they can make him work on the offensive end. So, or the defensive end, excuse me. So it's it'll be interesting to see. So you think that they need to go through the offense needs to go through Patrick Williams? Okay, well,
yeah, because I think Milwaukee's defense has keyed in on DeMar DeRozan. Okay, and the reason why I said that is because what they're going to do is they're going to double DeMar. Okay. And then with Zach Nees being humble, they're going to try to force him to take them off the dribble. Okay. And once those two options are out, they're not expecting anybody else to step up. Okay. We don't have Alonzo Ball running the point guard position where we can beat them in transition basketball. We can't play transition basketball without Alonzo Ball. So what's going to happen? It's going to end up being a half court game. And the only way we can have an advantage against them if we run the floor. If we don't run the floor, then we're going to be in a lot of trouble.
So you don't think the Bulls can win in a half court set?
No, because let me tell you, Milwaukee they're huge, bro. Like they overpower us in so many ways.
Mm-hmm.
And then all they got to do is set up a 2-3 zone, and they got like 4, 5, 6, 9, 6, 10 guys in their lineup with a Bobby Portis, a Giannis. Even Chris Middleton is like 6'7", 6'8". Like he got some height on him.
Mm-hmm.
And then you got guys like
Drew Holiday is a stud.
Yeah, Drew Holiday, he got some height on him too. So we're a little undersized. We can't physically bang with them, but we can actually outplay them when it comes to the speed of the game.
Yeah, well, the Bulls are 0-4 this season against the Milwaukee Bucks. They lost 94-90 in January. March 4th, they lost 118-112. Both of those games are close. But then later in the month, on March 22nd, they lost 126-98. They got blown out. And this month, they lost 127-106. So they are undefeated. They are winless against the Milwaukee Bucks all four times this season. And to me, I'm hoping they win a game. I think Milwaukee looks at us as a little brother, as a pest, and I think they're going to try and end this thing quickly. So we're going to see. We're going to see how it plays out.
Could be another factor too.
What's that?
If Kobe White gets hot, that can be another factor also, because he has not shot well. That's a huge factor. Yeah, he has not shot well against the Bucks. He was 2 for 19 against them. Okay, 2 for 19 in a few games against them. And I know he can shoot better than that.
What about do you want to see anyone? How do you want to see Billy's bench? Do you want to see it expand, or do you want to see it shrink? His bench.
You said what about the?
Do you want the bench for the Bulls? Do you want that to increase, have more players in the rotation, or do you want Billy to shrink his bench and keep his best players out there?
I think that the starters should play huge minutes, but at all times we should have some guys that can pick guys up from full court. Okay, they should always be somebody in the lineup who can guard their point guard full court. Does that make sense? Yep. So if it's not Ayo Dosunmu, maybe we can put a Patrick Williams on somebody like a Giannis. You see what I mean? Turn him on his dribble. Make him work. Don't just let him come up the court and set up the offense. Because if you can take off the head, like Scottie Pippen used to say, you take off the snake of the head, you can take out the body. And that's the key. If you can stop their point guards from penetrating, stop their point guards from setting up the offense so easily, then you can get in problems. And then you can start making Giannis do other things other than being in the paint. Make him a perimeter guy. And I know he likes to camp out in that hole, but when he camps out in that hole, you go into the box and one. You just shadow him. He's not Shaq. He's not unstoppable. Okay? He can be stopped.
Well, that's okay. I see that. And you want to let everybody else beat you. I think the Greek Freak is obviously he was the MVP for a reason. Obviously he's a talent. But I'll tell you what, I think boxing one might give him some problems. I think, and you know what, just throw it on him at key times, not all the time. All right, throw it on him at key times, or Joseph, whenever he wants to get in the post, then you throw the boxing one on him. All right, there's a couple of different ways to handle that. Hey Joe, I know you got to go, buddy. Hey, listen, we'll see you on Friday. All right.
All right, guys. God bless. Peace out.
All right. Yeah. So I'm interested to see what the Bulls do. I'm really, really, really interested to see exactly how this plays out with the Greek Freak, with Chris Middleton, Drew Holiday, Brook Lopez. I don't think it's going to be good.
No. No.
I just think they're just Milwaukee's too loaded for us right now.
I gave them 2 games. Like, I'm being very generous with the 2 games. Like, I'm hoping for like 2 miracles. And like I said, these guys have to perform. Like they can't just lay down. Like I know a sweep is very, very, possible, but if you're fighting for if you're fighting for a contract like Zach, if you're even DeMar, in a sense, DeMar still needs to prove that he could still perform. It's going to be a high pressure situation. It's the playoffs. Vooch still has stuff to prove because whatever happens, I mean, like I said, if you get swept, there's drastic change on the horizon. And I don't know if that's something that the Bulls front office wants to do. They're hoping that they could get the energy and the effort out of this group. But if they don't do that, I feel like they're going to have to make some changes. Vooch especially. Then you go on to Zach, Kobe White, and so on.
I disagree with Joseph with what he said earlier. Joseph said he wants the offense to run. He wants the offense to run through P. Will. I don't. I want it to run through Vooch. It doesn't mean P. Will's not going to get the ball. It doesn't mean P. Will's not going to take the first shot. It doesn't mean he's not going to make the first basket. But what it does is I want him moving. All right. I really want him moving. Okay. The more you get Levine, DeRozan, and now Patrick Williams, the more you get them moving and in motion, it's easier for them to get lost and to sneak away and to break away. It's much easier, and this is what you're going to need. You're going to need them to play solid defense for 48 minutes. And then when you know what you're doing, if you have them chase for 48 for the majority of the time, all the time when they're on defense, guess what? It's going to affect the offensive end. Okay. So that in my eyes, that's the only way they can win a game, maybe 2. If I'm a betting man, which I'm not, I say they could get one game. I just think Milwaukee's going to be too formidable to let that one game.
Would it be that first one? Do you think? Like they'd have? I would. Yeah. That would be the one to do it, right? If you're going to steal one, that would be the one to do it.
Yep. So you don't want to give Milwaukee, all the confidence that they have, by getting blown out game 1. You get blown out game 1, it's a wrap. Then they already know now they're coming to game 2. So yeah, game 1 is the one. They got to steal it. They got to go up to Brewtown, and they have to play their best basketball, and we'll see. So the next top of the morning topic, I sent you. There was an article, and man, was this freaking thing awesome. There was some history made the other day. There was some history in the San Francisco Giants game. It was Alyssa Nakin. Okay, Alyssa Nakin is the first female coach on the field in Major League Baseball. Okay, in the Padres Giants game the other day, and here's what happened. The first base coach got kicked out. Okay, he's got kicked out, and so they needed a coach for first base. They called her. She took off her sweatshirt. She was in the cages. Threw on a 92. Put on a batting helmet, and minutes later, history was made as she was the first female coach on the field in a regular season game. Over in her game, that was last night in a 13-2 win over the San Diego Padres. How awesome is that, dude? A first female coach on the field in a baseball game in Major MLB.
It's cool. I mean, like women have played the game before. Like that's something that was done. They've had their own league. You know how I feel like they keep the WNBA, but find a way to market it. Like, right? You got to find a way to market it some way, somehow. I think this is good for baseball. I mean, it's good for I don't know necessarily if you're going to have a female playing, but a female coach, women could coach the game. I don't see why not. if you're knowledgeable of it, you could definitely teach somebody something, or at least be a part of, what their team is doing and what they're building. I could see that happening.
Yeah, I hope she's not the first. I hope she's not the last. Of course, she's the first. And what's really cool about it is that her helmet, the batting helmet that she wore yesterday, is on its way to Cooperstown. I thought that was really, really cool. Padres first baseman Eric Hosmer, he reached out as soon as she came out. He went out and gave her, shook her hand, and I thought that was cool. Like I said, her helmet's, like I said, on the way to Cooperstown. It was just, I think it's just a great moment for, there are in sports, there's a lot of roles women can play in men's sports. Okay. You don't have to compete against the men. Okay. You could be, and there she is right there. That's awesome, dude. That's awesome. You don't have to compete against the men, but there's nothing wrong with being part of the strategy, being part of the team, being part of the brain trust. Okay. It's you're being part of the brain trust that you need to win a game. Nothing wrong with it, and congratulations to her for this pioneering, this groundbreaking situation yesterday. I just think that's awesome. I just think that's really, really, really awesome, man. And I can't wait. You have to understand, and she gets it. All right. She gets it. She's a trailblazer. She's a hero. For women. She worked her ass off to get to that spot, to get to the spot that she's at. It's tough. It's tough. It's a male dominated sport. Okay. You're talking about men's baseball. All right. To be a woman to get in there is really, really difficult. What kind of bullshit did she have to deal with? Okay. What was her ascension? Did she start in the minors and she came up? They just throw her in there. There's got to be a protocol. You can't just throw her in there, and because you're still, as much as you want to help other people, you still got to win games. You can't just throw someone in there who doesn't have any experience because she's a woman.
I disagree with that, and I'm not saying that she can't be in there because she's a woman. What I'm saying is that they will just throw somebody in there because they're a woman, or because they're a certain ethnicity, or because they're gay, or they will just throw somebody up there and prop them up just for publicity. That does happen a lot. So I'm not saying that she is. I'm not saying I know nothing about it. It was just something that happened, and she was able to go ahead and do that. Am I shocked that it's the Giants? Not really, but good for her. She's there. She's a part of the team. They hired her. She got her opportunity, and so be it.
Yeah, good luck. Great. It's great for her. So we'll see how it continues to play out, and we'll see if there's any other teams that consider or hire any other women, for positions, because it's, again, if you're a coach, if you're part of the brain trust, I have no problem. There's no issue. Okay. There's no issue. Okay. To giving your thoughts. Just because you may not have played the game, you can still have some thoughts. Okay. You can still have some thoughts. So again, Alyssa Nakin is the first female on-field coach in Major League Baseball history. That was pretty cool. Yesterday, Lewis says, I served with a lady officer in Iraq in a difficult situation. She was awesome and is one of the best leaders I've met. Awesome. So you firsthand, and trust me, serving in Iraq, a little different than Major League Baseball. And the fact that if you can trust a woman as a leader in the wartime situation, I think you can kind of trust a woman in a baseball situation. Call me crazy. I've been called worse, but call me crazy. I think, it's a great thing to see women in decision-making, powerful roles. Okay. First base coaches, there's a lot of responsibility, and you may not see it because you may not know the game, but there's a lot of responsibility on a first base coach. You got to look at the delivery time, right? From the pitcher to the catcher. You have to know you have to chart the time for his pickoff throw, what his move is, how fast it is from the mound to first base. You got to relay that to your runner. There's a lot involved in being a first base or third base coach. It's not just some fat guy who's just hanging out at the end of his career doing nothing.
There's more to going in, like, that goes into it. You know what I'm saying? Like, they're there training, they're there looking at tape. You know what I'm saying? Helping out some way, somehow, conditioning wise. Like, there's more than just, you know, her best being, you know what I'm saying, being the first bit. Like, I'm sure she's doing way more than just sitting there on the bench and doing nothing, or just being, being a chick. But like I said, this is no, seriously. I feel like sometimes teams and organizations do that to where it's like, whoa, man, like, what you're doing a disservice to not only the person but to the game and to everything else. It's disingenuous. You know what I'm saying? If this is real and she knows what she's doing, like Louis said, she could be a great leader. She could be a great teacher. You know what I'm saying? She could help somebody out, and that's a good thing.
Yeah, that's awesome. That's awesome. Listen, we got to take a quick break, and on the other side of the break, I'm excited. We're going to talk to Patrick Nolan from Sox Machine. We have a lot to talk about with Patrick Nolan. Talk about Louis Robert and what a day he had. What a day, kid. What a day for Louis Robert. Let's talk about that pitching staff. Another solid outing for a pitching staff that's kind of in flux for the White Sox. All right, another shaky outing for Liam Hendricks. Oh, I was in the left field bleachers at that point in the bottom of the ninth on the concourse watching the game, and he makes the game a lot more exciting than it needs to be. Let's just put it that way. It's a lot more exciting. You know, he gave up the hit, and I was like, oh, I'm like, that third run was huge that we got. And so all this, we're going to talk to Patrick Nolan on the other side of the break. So guys, don't go anywhere. Keep it locked right here. Shawn and Maya in the morning on SportsZone Chicago.
AutomotiveMap.com presents the Sports Flash on the SportsZone Chicago.
Going back is Marisnik back toward the left field fence, and that ball is going to be a home run. His second of the day. Suzuki has done it again.
The action on the Cubs radio network 2-1 the win over the Pirates on Tuesday. Say it's Suzuki with a pair of home runs. He connected for leadoff shots in the 5th and the 7th. The series continues today. Righty Kyle Hendricks starts for the Cubs against Pirates righty Zach Thompson. The White Sox nipped the Mariners 3-2. Louis Robert with his first home run of the season, a tie-breaking drive in the 6th to win it. Chicago extended their winning streak to 3 games with a victory in their home opener. The Sox will send left-hander Dallas Keuchel to the mound today against 2021 American League Cy Young Award winner Robbie Ray. NHL last night, the LA Kings beat the Blackhawks 5-2 at United Center. For lightning fast sports updates, download the Score app. It's free and one of the most popular sports apps in North America. I'm Chuck Sanders. That's the Sports Flash on the SportsZone Chicago.
This is the feeling you get when you have a dedicated Fidelity Wealth Planner looking at your full financial picture. Someone working with you on a flexible, comprehensive wealth plan based on your goals, helping you balance risk and reward. It's being able to enjoy today because you have a plan for the future. This is the planning effect from Fidelity. Learn more at fidelity.com/wealth. Investment minimums apply. Fidelity Brokerage Services, LLC.
At Tub of Towels, we started with the toughest messes and quickly realized Tub of Towels heavy-duty cleaning wipes can clean just about anything, like stubborn brake dust, spilled paint, even permanent marker. There's literally thousands of uses. Proudly made in the USA with over 35,000 five-star reviews. Find Tub of Towels heavy-duty cleaning wipes at your local auto parts store, the Home Depot, Lowe's, and more. Look for the big yellow tub.
Two on Robert.
Robert scalds his ball deep into right center field. Louis got him. 2-1 Sox. The first lead in this ballpark in 22.
Luis hit the daylights out of it last time. That end the 3rd inning into a double play. This time, that slider didn't slide all that much, and he was able to take.
Welcome back to Shawn and Maya in the morning on SportsZone Chicago on this Hump Day edition. Oh man, oh man, oh man! That was Louis Robert with a oppo going to right center field yesterday, putting the White Sox up. And let me tell you, it was electric. I was there. We were in it. The place went nuts to see that dude who has so much potential, go nuts the way he did at the plate, steal a couple bases, jumping in the walls with some defensive excellence. What a day! What a day by our guy. And you know what? Our guy Lewis Robert. And I don't. It's not hyperbole. It's not exaggeration or hype. This guy is can be a legitimate MVP candidate. This guy has everything. And I think that I'll tell you what, people are going to start to recognize and learn the name Lewis Robert as this season goes by. Remember, last year he was injured, and he performed well. But what I'm saying is he was gone all season for the majority of the season. So when he's gone, you kind of get your favorites, and you hear new names, and you roll with them. And okay, fine. Well, he's healthy now. So hope he stays healthy. And if he does, guess what? You're going to see a lot more home run highlights. See him trotting around the bases a lot. And hopefully, in my case, I hope it's over 40 times. I definitely hope it's over 40 times. My next guy works for a Sox Machine. He's the editor over there, and he's been rocking with us for a couple of years. And you can find him on Twitter at Sox, SOXMACH_P Knowles. Guys, let's welcome to Shawn and Maya, Patrick Nolan. Pat, what's up, buddy? How are you?
Doing well, Shawn. Thanks for having me on.
Hey, no problem. No problem. Big win yesterday for the good guys. And we talk about him, my man, Lewis Robert. Talk to me about his what a day he had yesterday with the home run, with the 2 stolen bases. How about we start there? Talk to me about how important those 2 stolen bases were, okay, in getting that extra run that the White Sox needed.
Well, that was huge. I mean, you talk a guy who just put the team on his back. I mean, not only the solo home run to take the lead, but that's a run that he just manufactured all by himself with the walk, the steals, and just getting it done with his legs. I mean, you saw just what a dynamic player he can be from both a power perspective and a speed perspective. And it turned out to be important because Hendricks wasn't able to pitch a clean ninth. So they really needed that extra run to knock down the win.
This guy has got all the tools. He's a 5-tool player. All right, he was hyped as that when he was coming out of Cuba. We never really saw it. We saw flashes of it, but yesterday, really, he put it all together. Again, defense, at the catch at the wall in center, bouncing off the wall, the home run, the steals. Is this his year that he is a legitimate? Did you feel he is a legitimate MVP candidate?
Yes, I do. I mean, if it wasn't for this guy named Otani, I might call him a front runner, actually. But yeah, I think, that's just not fair. I mean, the guy can pitch and hit at the same and rack up value in 2 different ways. But I think that really the only thing standing in the way of Robert is health. I mean, the guy has a spotty health record, but if he can stay healthy, I mean, there's no doubt in my mind that he can be one of the most valuable players in the game this year. I mean, I said that at the end of last season that he was already a top 10 player. And if, he keeps going the way he's going and nothing in his body stops him from getting on the field, 100, 140, 150 times this season, I think we're looking at an MVP candidate.
Oh, you just gave me chills, Patrick. You gave me freaking chills. Because watching this guy, and you know what's awesome? Is there a couple people on his team who are legitimate MVP candidates. We already have an MVP in Jose Abreu, but God forbid Eloy really start coming through and putting 35 homers on the board. He's going to be in that conversation. God forbid Tim Anderson continues to be atop the leaderboard of batting averages and get this team jump started. He's going to be in that conversation. And God forbid Yo-Yo turns the corner, because he can be a candidate as well. There's so much. This team is so stacked. But right now, I think Lewis Robert, or Lou Bob, as I like to call him, is leading this team as far as MVP candidates on the White Sox.
Yeah, I would think so. And you're absolutely right that there's a lot of guys who could have that sort of breakout season and enter the conversation. And I think that even if that doesn't happen, I mean, you're talking about at minimum 5 all-star caliber talents in the batting order. And then you mentioned Eloy, and I'm hoping that he can hoping he could get the ball in the air a little bit. He's actually smoked a few of these balls, but they've been on the ground, and he's got to find some way to generate lift more consistently. I think that was an issue for him last season, and it's kind of spilling over to this one. So getting the ball in the air is going to be huge, and because he definitely has that 35-40 home run potential.
Guys, we're talking to Patrick Nolan, the editor over at Sox Machine, talking White Sox baseball right here on Shawn and Maya in the morning on SportsZone Chicago. this pitching has really held up. This pitching has held up. Velasquez gave us 4 innings yesterday. In the first 4 games, the pitching has really held up. Give me your thoughts on it. And do you think that this pitching staff can continue? The staff with the relievers, of course, they can continue to hold their water.
Yeah, I think that they can. I mean, it's a well-built pitching staff. There's been a few too many walks lately. I don't think that. I mean, I'm calling it found money that we got through a Vince Velasquez start without a complete meltdown. But to his credit, he was able to battle and he was able to hold his own. He got a little lucky. I mean, there was some hard hit balls out there, but fortunately, they're not counting on him long term with Lynn coming back, eventually Giolito, and then you got Johnny Cueto on the way too. So hopefully, between those guys, we won't have to see too much of him. But I'm glad he was able to battle through his start. Dylan Cease is a dark horse Cy Young candidate this season. He's got that strikeout stuff. He just needs to make sure that he doesn't lose the strike zone too much. But then Kopech, it was nice to see him get out there and do what he did. I was a little concerned that he didn't get that much ramp up time in the spring, but for not really getting that much of a spring training under his belt, certainly looked okay in the series of the opening series of the season. So definitely pretty high on this pitching staff. They just got to get healthy.
Man, health is a key thing. Lucas Giolito, he just went on a 10-day DL along with AJ Pollock, the outfielder. How do you think they continue to hold us together, with this pitching staff? Do you think it's going to be heavy on the bullpen, or do you think the starters can give us 5? I know Velasquez only gave us 4, but does Tony think like, hey, at least give me 4+ and let the bullpen do the rest?
Yeah, it's going to be interesting because these outings just keep getting shorter and shorter for starters by season, it seems like. And, Dylan Cease, he doesn't really have a reputation just yet for going deep into games. Kopech, you really never know how many innings he's going to be able to give you. And then, you're talking about guys like, Velasquez and maybe Ronaldo Lopez giving you spot starts here and there. I mean, they're probably not going to pitch too deep. So I think there really is going to be a lot of pressure on the bullpen. And particularly after, the rosters get a little bit smaller, that's going to be a challenge when you don't have, such a deep pen to throw at guys. So for the time being, I think there's going to be quite a bit of pressure on the bullpen unless, you get your horses like Lance Lynn back, and hopefully Cueto can be a decent innings guy as well when he gets up here.
Do you think that Tony's going to use the speed of this team? Because that we talked about Lou Bob stealing second and then stealing third. Are they going to use that speed as an asset? Because if it is an asset. They have guys who can run. Obviously, Luis Robert can run. Tim Anderson can run. Yoan Moncada, when he gets back, can run. Adam Engel can run. Hell, even Eloy. And let's not forget, if Eloy doesn't bust his ass down that first base line yesterday, that run that Robert scored goes for naught. We don't get that run because there was one out and they were turning a double play. Let's not forget Eloy busting his ass down for the first base line yesterday to get that run.
Yeah, absolutely right. I think that folks tend to sleep on Eloy's speed a little bit. He's actually, he can move. I mean, you think of him as like a lumbering slugger corner outfielder, but that guy's got some speed to him. It's the route running in the outfield that makes him a little bit more of a an adventure. But he physically he can move. And yeah, I really hope that they are able to put the speed to use, particularly in these close games. I'm not a huge fan of taking big chances in the early innings, but when it comes late and one run makes such a world of difference, that's going to be the time where I really hope Tony La Russa does use these guys to get that extra base, which could be so critical. And Moncada is one guy you mentioned that is pretty interesting because he was always a stolen base threat in the minor leagues, but once he's come up here, he hasn't really pushed it that much on the bases. And I think a lot of it's going to come down to how his body is feeling. But it would be great if they had another speed threat in the lineup because he's definitely fast enough to take his fair share of bases.
He is, and you know what? He's my guy. I am a big Yoan Moncada fan, and I really hope he can turn the corner because you know what? If he turns the corner and he has another season, like he did, was it 19 where he was third in hitting? Okay, then this team's got a really good shot. What type of hitter do you think he needs to be? Do you think he should be in his best interest? So you want him to be a power guy? Or do you want him to be a guy who knocks the ball all around the ballpark?
I know it's pretty popular to want Moncada to be more of a slugging type threat, and I do understand it just because when you see some of the home runs that he hits, he's certainly able to knock the ball out of the park with regularity. If his swing is right. And, I think that all things considered, he probably was maybe more passive than he should have been during parts of last season. But I'm not going to complain too much because I think that a lot of the complaints about Moncada that I've seen have been more about the shape of his production than the size of it. I mean, he was still a 4-win player last year, and he's racking up that value by playing defense and getting on base at a high clip. And, that'll work for me too. I mean, if he's a 4-win player each and every year until he's done being a White Sox, that's going to be perfectly fine with me. But, if he is able to tap into a little bit more of that power, then yeah, he's got upper echelon, top 3 third baseman in baseball type of potential.
Shawn, you're on mute.
Sorry about that. When Gio comes back, are they just going to unleash him, or is he still going to be on a pitch count, innings count? Because I mean, this guy's ready to go. He's added weight in the offseason, mostly in his legs to help him get through 162 games or about 30-ish starts, give or take. What do you think they're going to do with Gio when he comes back? Because if you can't throw it with your abs, if your ab is hurt, it's tough to gain a lot of that torque on your pitches.
Yeah, my hope is that when he comes back, they're just going to let him loose because if they shouldn't be starting him if there's any concern about that, right? Like you want to be able to, if you're saying, hey, Lucas, come back, like you want him to be able to throw 6 innings on the mound. Otherwise, he's not giving you that much over what some of your deeper bullpen guys might give you. Because I mean, if you want a 4-inning start, I mean, you could turn to Reynaldo Lopez, ask him to grind through 4 innings, no problem. But Giolito's value is to really be able to pitch deep into these games, and hopefully, they'll go ahead and make sure that he's ready to do that before they take him off the injured list.
Patrick, why do you think Andrew Vaughn didn't play yesterday? There's a lot of hype around him. People are talking about the trade rumors for Frankie Montas. The Sox obviously need another starting pitcher. Bob Nightingale tweeted out yesterday that Rick Hahn said that he is off the table. I was going to say Ricky Vaughn. Andrew Vaughn is off the table. He's not in play. Why do you think he didn't get a shot yesterday, or he didn't play? I mean, it's not like he's tired. There's only 4 games into the season.
Yeah, I think that part of it is just that they saw Gavin Sheets. He's an asset against right-handed pitchers. You don't want to have too many games go by when a righty's on the mound and Sheets is on the bench, just because they're trying to chase that 900 OPS from last season. I don't know if right field is exactly the place that I would put Gavin Sheets, because that's one of the few guys around that Vaughn is actually substantially better defensively than out there in right field. But part of it was just trying to get the second catcher in the lineup too. I think that they're trying to plan out playing time for Yasmani Grandal and Reese McGuire. And with McGuire being in the lineup yesterday, that slid Grandal to DH. And then it's a question, do you want to bench Grandal's bat or do you want to bench Vaughn's bat? And I think that just based on the handedness of the pitcher, they decided to go with Grandal. But I think that Vaughn, given his performance in the first series, he could approach the territory very soon where he just can't be sat for more than 1 game every couple of weeks. So hopefully when he gets back into the lineup, he can start to prove that. And then I think at that point, that's when you start to have the conversation about, well, how much of Gavin Sheets' playing time should he really be cutting into?
You mentioned Reese McGuire, the backup catcher. How important was that signing? Because if in the last series, if you remember, he scooped one out of the dirt and threw a guy out at second. Talk to me about how big of a signing. And it was not a huge, big splash signing, but it was one that I think the White Sox needed to shore up the middle of that defense. Talk to me about how huge that trade, or that signing, I should say, can be later on in the season.
Yeah, I think that we have to give Rick Hahn a lot of points for creativity in figuring out that he could get McGuire in trade, because first off, the first key was preserving Zach Collins' option last season. There was an argument to keep Zach Collins off the Major League roster for the entirety of 2021 after they sent him down for Seby Zavala. And by bringing him back up, they were able to preserve that option year. And really, that's all that Toronto was valuing in this trade, is just saying, hey, we have this guy we can't send to the minor leagues. We want a catcher that we can send to the minor leagues. So he was able to basically just trade the ability to stash a catcher for a legitimate backup catcher. And McGuire's come in. He's very. I think everyone has seen how good he is defensively, blocking, framing, throwing. He can do it all. And I think that he's a perfect fit for this team. And that's really just a move that I don't think anyone's going to have any complaints about.
Guys, we're talking to Patrick Nolan from SoxMachine.com. Talking White Sox baseball right here on Shawn and Maya in the morning on SportsZone Chicago. So talk to me about the middle of their defense now. So now you got a good defensive catcher. All right, you have a former all-star in Harrison, who's going to be the second baseman the majority of the time. You got Tim Anderson, and then you got the guy who can cover everything from the Wisconsin to the Indiana border, and Lewis Robert in center field. How important is that going to be later in this season down the stretch, and more importantly in the playoffs?
Well, I think that's pretty strong, and it takes a lot of pressure off of everybody else when you have guys in the middle of the field that can be that rangy. I think Harrison will be upgraded defensively at second base. Anderson, it's really just we know he's got as much range as anybody over there at shortstop. It's just a matter of how clean defense he plays. And, in the seasons he doesn't make as many errors, he grades out very well. And to his credit, that's something he's worked very hard on. And I feel pretty confident with him defensively now over there at shortstop. And then, you have a couple of catchers who can frame a pitch. When McGuire's in there, it's going to be, really, really strong from all aspects of catching. And then you mentioned Robert, who just being able to minimize the deficiencies that these non-angle corner outfielders have in flagging down balls. I think that's going to be huge. So it's great to see.
It is. Hey, Patrick, great stuff, buddy. I appreciate it. Do me a favor, though. Let everyone know where they can find you and your work online.
You can find my work. I'm a contributor at SoxMachine.com, and you can find me on Twitter at SoxMach_PNoles. That's SOXMACH_PNOLES.
Great stuff, buddy. Good talking to you. We'll be in touch soon. Now the baseball season is back in full swing.
Sounds great. Always glad to be here, Shawn.
All right, buddy. Thank you. All right, guys. That was Patrick Nolan from SoxMachine.com talking White Sox baseball, man. And it was, Charlie, I'm telling you, that game was awesome yesterday. The vibe, the energy, the feel, the electricity, the smells. Ivan, you know what I'm talking about. When you went to opening day the other day at Cubs Park, it's the smells. All right. You got, in the parking lot, you got the different, as I'm walking to my group, because I was a little further away, I was a couple aisles over. I'm walking to my group, I'm smelling, Italian sausages, Polish sausages, steak, some arrachera, some ribs, some hot dogs, some hamburgers. All right. This.
Did you go to CrossFit?
No. Well, today's Wednesday, my day off anyway. So that's why that's my scheduled day off. So
that thing's just worked out that way.
Worked out perfectly. Yes. And so the atmosphere, then you smell the beer and you smell, just the fresh grass. Obviously, once we got inside, we're not smelling grass in the parking lot, but just that, and the sounds and the sights, it was one hell of experience. And it happens once. All right, opening day, there's nothing like it. You can have another crowd, you can have a lot of energy and electricity, but it's not like opening day. It's just not. All right, it's it brings hope, it brings new hope, it brings a lot of expectations, a lot of, I don't want to say anxiety, but a lot of I guess hope would be it, on a new season, on a good season, especially for you guys. You guys are in a transition stage, and it's like you can still get to the playoffs. Your team is built good enough to win the playoffs. And for us, we're a little different, right? We're expected to get in the playoffs and go deep, if not win the World Series. So, the anticipation of the home opener of opening day, but also the home opener was high. And you know what? Both teams delivered. You last week, us yesterday.
Yeah, definitely. No, I'll pump the brakes on the Cubs fully for the playoffs. I mean, like we said, like, it was nice to see this, this little start to the season, this nice little run, and all that. But if they can continue, and if you could find some pitching quality, if a young guy comes up and surprises you, then we could start talking about the All-Star break. I think Cornelius was the one who said about the All-Star break for Seiya. I'll do the same thing for the Cubs realistically, even though I'm excited. But you guys, on the other hand, like you said, it's a different story. And that's why I was kind of like, when people were upset about, this guy wasn't starting opening day and so on and so forth. I'm like, do you really think that matters? Does that matter? Or trying to get the sweep in your first series out the gate, does that matter? You know what I mean? Probably putting your best to start the season. Does that matter more than getting, lining it up so your best pitcher or your ace could pitch right in front? I don't think that matters right now for the White Sox. I think things like that need to get just set aside. Just push those thoughts away and focus on the bigger picture, which is as much accumulation, as much wins you could accumulate, and try to stay as healthy as you can throughout the season. I think the Sox have a great chance. If the Cubs, like I said, Cubs have a lot of things that need to fall in place, but I like to start for both teams.
Me as well. And as long as it continues, man, I'll be happy. Like I said, I want summer. It's not going to stay this way. The Cards are going to get a little hot. The Brewers are going to get a little hot. The Minnesota Twins are going to get hot. The Detroit Lions, the Detroit Tigers they're going to be a pain in our ass. So it's not going to be all roses this season. But you know what? But that's what makes the season fun, is when you see teams that get better, and you see teams that, okay, now here's the trick: staying to the level of our staying to our level, playing our game. If we lower our level to the level of the teams that are inferior to us, now we're playing their game. If we can maintain our level of excellence, our level of play for the majority of the season, we will win 90 plus games, maybe even 100. Okay. I have no doubt saying we can win 100 games. Okay. But you have to play, the White Sox need to play their brand of baseball. Okay. They need to run. They need to stress the defense, put pressure on the defense. Because remember, just think about it. If you stress a defense that doesn't really deal with a lot of base runners, and now the ball goes into center field, or if you're stealing third and the ball goes down the right field line or left field line, guess what? Now the run scored. And you've manufactured a run without having to put the ball in play. Okay. This is something that teams don't do a lot. There's not a lot of stolen bases, and there's metrics as to why and all this other bullshit. But you know what? To me, put pressure on defenses. Make them, because first you have to, here's the thing. There's so many things that have to go right for a defense. The pitcher, what if the pitcher throws a curveball? He doesn't throw a 100-mile-an-hour fastball. He throws an 87-mile-an-hour curveball. Well, guess what? That takes longer to get to the plate. That's one. Two, the catcher's got to, if it's a curveball, what if it's down low? What if it's a slider? What if it's down low? What if it's in the dirt? Then two, you got to scoop it. That's two. Three, then you got to have a good throw. Okay? Four, it can't be in line. It can't get there right as the runner gets it, because if the runner slides and kicks the ball out of the glove, guess what? He's safe. That's five. There's a lot of different things that have to go on to get a stolen, to throw someone out at second base. There's a lot. And you know what? Push the envelope. Put pressure on the defense. Make them earn it. Because what happens is you start getting a reputation for that. And people might shit the bed. You're going to get sphincters tightening a little bit when they know you're on, like, oh, okay, he's going to run. He's going to run. And guess what? That any little focus that you can afford to get the pitcher off the batter, off of any of our White Sox batters, is a win. Is a win. Because you know what? You know he's going. Maybe you want to throw a little faster. Maybe you want to throw a few more fastballs to get to the catcher quicker so he can throw it quicker. But guess what? Now I'm waiting fastball. Now we have guys in our up and down our lineup who can hit. We got guys who can rake. We got MVP candidates, 4 or 5 in this lineup. It's all about maximizing. What do we talk about in football? Putting your players in the best position to be successful. And we talk about that basketball as well. Well, it applies in baseball. Put your players, put your team in the best position to be successful. And what that means for a team with speed like the White Sox, run them. Yeah, you're going to get thrown out sometimes. Of course. It's part of the game. But it's also going to cause you a lot. It's going to gain you a lot of wins. I guarantee it. It'll gain you a heck of a lot of wins. And, we talked about Lou Bob. 30-30? Yeah. 40-40? That's very possible. That's very possible.
Very possible. I like 30-30. I was like, okay. Now we're going to 10. Like, I could see him doing one or the other. I don't know. Like to me, in his second year, 40 home runs, 40 stolen bases. I could see the 35 stolen bases, 30. I could see him 30-30.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know about 40-40. 40-40s.
That's elite territory, man.
Yeah,
that's Mike
elite,
Trout.
yeah.
Yeah, I agree. But here's the thing: he has the ability to do it because he got Tim Anderson in front of him. Okay, according to the lineup that Tony's been putting out, he's got Tim Anderson in front of him, and he's got Jose Abreu behind him. Come on, man. What are you going to pitch around him and get to Jose Abreu? He's been leading the league in RBIs. He gives you 100 RBIs every full season for the last 7 years in a row, or all but the 1 year he was injured. All right, so he's got pitches. He's going to get pitches, and what if? And this is why this lineup is so dangerous. Imagine Tim gets on. Imagine Tim gets on base. Well, guess what? We just talk about what the hell happens when you got guys on base, what they can do, what it causes, what it could do to a pitcher. Let me give you a quick stat. I was looking at. This is from NBC Sports Chicago. This was up the other day. With no hits, when Timmy's playing, and he doesn't have any hits, the White Sox are 15-24. This is since 2020. 15-24. That's a .385 winning percentage. Okay. When he has 1+ hits, okay, means he's getting on. Maybe a hit, a walk, or something. But 1+ hits, the Sox are 88-45. It's a .662 percentage. That's 2/3 of their games that they win when you got 1+ hits. When TA has 2+ hits, 2 or more hits, they are 50-17. That's a .745 winning percentage. 745. You get this guy on, guess what? Lou Bob's right behind him. Lewis Robert is right behind Tim Anderson. So who are you going to do? You're going to worry about Tim Anderson trying to steal second and leave one of your pitches hanging? Because guess what? You leave a pitch hanging with Lewis Robert, I guarantee you that thing's going to the concourse. I guarantee you that's going to the concourse. Because you can't pitch around Lewis Robert because you have Jose Abreu behind him. This lineup is stacked. This lineup is powerful. This lineup is potent. This lineup is murderer's row. And it could be the best lineup. I say us or the Toronto Blue Jays have the best, most powerful lineup in Major League Baseball, 1 through 9. Because let's not forget, like yesterday, McGuire can catch. Well, guess what? Now Yaz is still in there with his bat at the DH. And since he's a switch hitter, guess what? He's a lefty hitter against a right-handed pitcher. Okay, good. No problem. This team is well constructed. Rick Hunt, hats off to you. I'm not done. I'm not happy. I hope you're not done either, because we need another pitcher or two. But I do like the way this team's constructed to this point. Well, listen, we got to take a quick break. And on the other side of the break, we got some Bulls talk. Man, the Bulls they're in a tough spot. They're in the playoffs. Playoffs start Sunday. Okay. They're traveling up 94 to Milwaukee. So, Ivan, what do you think? Do you think they take a charter plane or they just make the drive? Do you think they fly or they drive? You're ready. I mean,
I would say to be a charter bus.
If they're still in Deerfield, I would say definitely take a bus. If you're in Deerfield, where they were before, where the Advocate Center was,
right.
the Berto Center was up there, you're halfway. You're damn near at the Wisconsin border anyway. But now you're downtown. You can go to take a quick ride to Midway, take a charter, because all you need is little, No,
I got you. I understand it. No, I would say a charter bus, like a two bus, or whatever, 2-3 buses, whatever they need. It's only from my house on the north side is only, well, I wouldn't say only. It's probably what, like an hour and a half, hour 45, something like that, like close to 2 hours. Close to 2 hours to get up there or something like
Well, it
that.
depends on what time you go, because
Depending on what time you go, right? Depending, like, say if you leave it during traffic, it's going to be later. But the Bulls are probably leaving. They probably left early, so they probably missed a lot of traffic. So they probably got up there maybe an hour 10, something like that, depending on whatever. But I would just drive. Like, why do that? Like, why fly that short of a distance? You're not that far away. This isn't L.A. or New York. I mean, I would charter bus. You save first of all, you save money. Not that they need to be saving any money. They need to go ahead and spend some money. You know what I mean? Not that they need to be saving money, but it just, to me, it makes sense. It's right to hop, skip, and a jump. Like, you know what I mean? It's a stone's throw away.
And Armando said the Bulls take a train. A train would be a good idea. That would be a great idea.
A private train, a private bullet train.
Well, no, you take an Amtrak, but you take, and I don't think they take a train. But you get 3 cars. 3 cars are just Bulls players. All right, you get 2 cars and 2 cars in a meal cart in between. You know what I mean? So they have their own chef. They have their own.
You should text Eugene McIntosh, see if he was if he knows or if he's up there.
That's a good question.
See if he knows how they get up to Milwaukee, because that's a good question. Like, I don't understand why they would take a plane. I mean, maybe a private jet. Maybe that'll be a different story. If it was like, team chartered, like, or whatever, they take a yacht.
How about that, dude? That'd be dope.
Speedboats all the way up to Milwaukee.
No. You don't speed. You got to go chill. You take a yacht. Let everybody see. And you know what? You're literally all you are is literally 400 yards from the shore, so everybody can see you.
Everybody can see you. Everybody can see your ass pulling up for the sweep. Pulling up for the sweep in style.
2 miles an hour, so everybody sees you. So that's a good question, and we will ask. I will call Eugene, and see what he says, if he has any idea, because we don't, because when they go anywhere else, it's a flight. You go to Indy, it's a flight. You go to Cleveland, it's a flight. Obviously, and everything else. Those are the other really only close teams, and everything else is a lot further. So of course you take a flight. But Milwaukee, I don't know. That's that is a great question. We gotta put some feelers out, some questions out.
No. Our very own Jason Palmer from What's Up Cuz. They use chartered bus with Illinois and Wisconsin State Police.
State troopers.
Yep. He said they seen it for the Cubs and the Sox. So state troopers, they got a state police escort and charter buses. So there you go. I was right.
Okay. So yeah, 2 buses, because there's only a 15 guy. Yeah. And all the players hanging on the side from seasickness. That's funny. That makes sense. That makes sense. Because when a team comes in, when they fly into O'Hare, they have a state trooper escort. So it was funny. So it was, man, I was working when I was finishing broadcast. We had to be about 2015, I think. I was working at the head of security at the Under Armour store down on Michigan and Ohio, in the corner of Michigan and Ohio. And it was a Bears preseason game. So I'm standing at the front door, and all of a sudden, down Ohio Street, I see a state trooper just come flying and turning on Michigan Avenue. Like, what's going on? Because they don't have jurisdiction on the streets. It's the city, so you got the Chicago cops. Why is the state trooper in Chicago? Was it a chase? Did he chase someone off the expressway here? But I didn't see a car before him. Then all of a sudden, I see 2 big charter buses. Well, the next day was Bears-Dolphins preseason game. And I remember I was like, oh, snap. My head coach from college, Coach Duffner, Mark Duffner, was a coach on, at that point, he was with the Dolphins. And so I was like, holy cow. So I pulled out my phone and I texted him. And I was like, I DM'd him on Messenger. I was like, Coach, is that you stopping traffic on Michigan Avenue? And And about 7-10 minutes later, he responded. He's like, LOL. He was LOL. He goes, yes, that was us getting to our hotel. I was like, oh, dude, that's awesome. That's awesome. So, yeah, so it makes sense. They have state troopers. Okay, good stuff. Well, listen, let's take a quick break. And on the other side of the break, we're going to have some more Bulls talk. We're going to figure out how they, now that we figured out how they get to Milwaukee, we're going to figure out how they can get this win on Sunday. Because if you don't win Sunday, I really don't think you're going to win game 3. You're not going to win game 2. That's for starters. But game 3 will be back here in Chicago. And I just don't see it. I don't see it. So we got some Bulls talk. Hey, get your Bulls questions ready. Get them up on whatever platform you're watching it on, whether it be Facebook, whether it be YouTube. Just type a question or comment right there, or your question. It's going to come up here. I will get it on the screen, and we will talk about it. Bulls basketball, Bulls playoff talk. How good does that feel to say that? Bulls playoff talk coming up next right here on Shawn and Maya in the morning on SportsZone Chicago.
AutomotiveMap.com presents the Sports Flash on the SportsZone Chicago.
Going back is Marisnik back toward the left field fence, and that ball is going to be a home run. His second of the day. Suzuki has done it again.
The action on the Cubs radio network 2-1 the win over the Pirates on Tuesday. Say it's Suzuki with a pair of home runs. He connected for leadoff shots in the 5th and the 7th. The series continues today. Righty Kyle Hendricks starts for the Cubs against Pirates righty Zach Thompson. The White Sox nipped the Mariners 3-2. Louis Robert with his first home run of the season, a tie-breaking drive in the 6th to win it. Chicago extended their winning streak to 3 games with a victory in their home opener. The Sox will send left-hander Dallas Keuchel to the mound today against 2021 American League Cy Young Award winner Robbie Ray. NHL last night, the LA Kings beat the Blackhawks 5-2 at United Center. For lightning fast sports updates, download the Score app. It's free and one of the most popular sports apps in North America. I'm Chuck Sanders. That's the Sports Flash on the SportsZone Chicago.
This is the feeling you get when you have a dedicated Fidelity Wealth Planner looking at your full financial picture. Someone working with you on a flexible, comprehensive wealth plan based on your goals, helping you balance risk and reward. It's being able to enjoy today because you have a plan for the future. This is the planning effect from Fidelity. Learn more at fidelity.com/wealth. Investment minimums apply. Fidelity Brokerage Services, LLC.
At Tub of Towels, we started with the toughest messes and quickly realized Tub of Towels heavy-duty cleaning wipes can clean just about anything, like stubborn brake dust, spilled paint, even permanent marker. There's literally thousands of uses. Proudly made in the USA with over 35,000 five-star reviews. Find Tub of Towels heavy-duty cleaning wipes at your local auto parts store, the Home Depot, Lowe's, and more. Look for the big yellow tub.
Welcome back to Shawn and Maya in the morning on SportsZone Chicago on this Hump Day edition. Man, it was a great day yesterday. Let me tell you, it was a phenomenal day. The weather was amazing. It was 65, 70 degrees yesterday. I had my shorts on. I'm telling you, and don't get me wrong, I'm from Chicago. So I know I had a cold gear, long sleeve mock turtleneck to go under because I just had a compression shirt underneath my jersey. I wore my white pinstripe jerseys. I got to match the team. And I had some black thermogear stuff from Nike. So if it got too cold as the game was going on, then I would just throw those black sweats over my shorts. And then I actually had them. So I have a small, little knapsack. So I put that underneath my jersey, was able to walk in. So if it got too cold, I was able to put the sweatpants on. You're from the Shy, man. I know you got to layer and you got to be prepared. Outside the stadium, you keep one thing, and all of a sudden, next thing you know, 30 minutes, 40 minutes later, the weather drops and changes. We're not too far from the lake. Okay. You guys are close to the lake too, or close by Wrigley. We're not too far from the lake on the south side. You just got to go right down 35th to the lake. Okay. We're a little further than you, but we're still not far from the lake. So I know how that temperature can change. So it was great. I just keep talking about it because it was fun. It was great seeing people, great, the energy, great music. If you saw me, I went live a couple times. man, they had some house music going like it was nobody's business, boy. And then my guy Hirsch started DJing, and he got the party jumping. Big shout out to Hirsch for the Hirsch outings yesterday. His girl, our girl Chella, DJ Shortstop is her DJ name. She was doing her thing on the ones and twos, and then when Hirsch got on, he just turned that party up to another level. And it was, I'm telling you, this was what it was all about. There were black people, white people, Asian people, okay, Middle Eastern people dancing, drinking, smoking cigars, just loving house music, eating, in the parking lot. It was great to see. It was great to see, great to be a part of. And man, I just had the best time yesterday. At the Sox home opener. But the Bulls play Sunday, game 1 of their playoff of the 2022 playoffs for the Bulls. First time in 5 years they're making the playoffs, and it's going to be a first for a lot of people. Kobe White, obviously, he's only in his third year now. He's going to be experiencing the playoffs. Ayo Dosunmu, Patrick Williams, Zach LaVine, all these guys, are going to be experiencing their first playoffs. And unfortunately, for them, they got the defending champs who, toward the end of the season, really righted the ship, and they looked very formidable. How can they do this? Can they do this? Can they upset the Milwaukee Bucks? The answer to that's the question, $1 million question. And I say, yes, they can. Will they? That, my friends, is another story. That, my friends, is $1 million question. Okay. There's a couple of ways that I think the Bulls can do this. Okay. And all these things, everything has to fall in line. And no, it's not the Greek Freak, Chris Middleton, Drew Holiday, and Brook Lopez get injured. No, that's not. Trust me, that would help. But I'm never going to wish injury on a player, on an opposing player, unless you're Green Bay. But that's another story. The Bulls have to make a concerted effort on defense. Okay. Got to go. Hey, Luis, thank you, Papa. Thank you for tuning in. Appreciate it. And good hanging with you yesterday over at the Sox game. I got to hang with him and Galia, GG unit yesterday at the Sox game. And then for a little bit after. It's good seeing you guys, hanging with you guys. You guys are just a bomb. You're the bomb. Here's what you're going to have to do. You got to move without the ball. Okay. So that means, number one, the offense has to go through Vooch, in my opinion. Now, Joseph, you heard Joseph earlier say he wants the offense to go through Patrick Williams. I respect his decision. I respect his wrong decision. That's fine. Opinion, I should say. That's fine. But Vooch is the guy that needs to get it going. Why? Because we need him involved. We need Vooch involved. Okay. I need Vooch to, and here's the thing. Milwaukee's big. So Vooch isn't just going to know. Robin Lopez is no pushover. Okay. He's not a guy that Vooch can just dominate and be more physical than. Okay. So this is a challenge to Vooch, because here's what we need you to do. Either you can go on Robin Lopez, you get him, or you facilitate. And this is where it starts early, because it goes through Vooch, and I need everybody moving. I need picks being set. I need back screen set. I need people coming open on the baseline, the top of the key. I need people coming open. Okay, this is what I need. Because if Vooch gets a step on Lopez and can score or get a good shot up, good, no problem. If not, facilitate, give it up. Because with picks being set, someone's going to be wide open. Someone's going to be open. You have to keep an eye out for that too. I think you must play a much better defense. You have to. Okay. You have to get after it. Everybody has to get after it on the defensive end of the court. And by this, I mean help defense. First of all, staying in front of your guy is important. But there's going to be times where you just can't. The Greek Freak gets by you. We need team help. We need help. And I know they're going to kick it out to three-point shooter, but I'd rather have that than a dunk by Giannis or Lopez or Middleton. Threes are nice, but dunks are really, really emotional. They change a game. They change the moment. Sorry, I didn't know. Hold on. Pardon me, I didn't even know what the heck that was. But we can't have anyone breaking free to the basket. So we got to work on team defense. We got to close out. All right, on shooters, we got to close out on shooters. And more importantly, we have to box out. You can't close out on a three-point shooter, and as he's shooting, you're walking down to the other end of the court. You can't do that. When he's done shooting and he lands, you gotta let him land. I'm trying not to, Armando. I'm really trying not to, man. I'm trying, man, but they can do it. They need to do it, man. But what I'm saying is
you're gonna go Cuba Gooding Jr. and start swinging at the air and shit.
Ricky, sorry. But you got to box out. Okay, you got to close out. You got to box out. That's the most important thing. Boxing out. When three-point shooter, when he lands, you turn around and you box him out. Period. Down low. If you're not boxing somebody out, you better find someone to box out. Stacy, if you ever listen to the Bulls games, and Stacy will oftentimes say, when we get a nice an easy bucket, he's like, it's a simple game. And it really is. It really is. Ooh, excuse me. Because think about it. And this saying applies to basketball as well as football. And I got to quote J.J. Wright, who got it from a coach he played under who said this: if you take care of all the little things, there are no big things. Let's take a look at it. Let's take a look at that saying here with the Bulls. You close out on a shooter. Don't give him a free shot. He's got to shoot it with a hand coming at him. It's not difficult to do, is it? Then once he shoots and lands, let him land. Turn around and box him out. That's not a difficult thing to do. Then under the hoop, you see that ball go up. You see that shot go up. You can't just go to the rim. You have to look and see who's unblocked or who's not boxed out. Because you're looking at the ball like, oh, here it goes, and all of a sudden the guy you could have blocked out jumps over you, dunks on you, tips the ball back, gives him another. They reset the shot clock. That's not difficult to do. When the ball goes up, you find a man to box out. I don't give a rat's ass if the ball hits the floor and bounces 3 times. Your ass better box somebody out. This is not transition basketball. Get it and go. Yeah, you can do that when you pick your spots. Bulls need to pick their spots. But it's not going to be a game of transition. It's going to be a half-court set. We've talked about this. You know this. Playoff basketball is a lot more intense. The possessions in a playoff basketball game are much fewer than they are in a regular season game. So that means every possession is more valuable, which means you better make sure you box out, because if that ball's bouncing 3 times, guess what? Everybody's boxed out. And I know it sounds simple. Like, oh, well, dude, it is simple. It's a choice, whether you do it or not. The Bulls, Billy Donovan's got to get this guys, and he's got to say, look, it's your mentality. Boxing someone out doesn't take great physical skill, doesn't take talent, doesn't take crazy athleticism. It doesn't. It takes desire. It takes want to. Can the Bulls be that team? Are the Bulls ready to be the Slayers? Are they ready to be the Buck Slayers? Are they ready? Because if you are, then they're going to do this. If they're not, then they won't. I need good, solid offense. Because again, your possessions are valuable. They're not as many in the postseason. So that means we got to be careful. We have to be strategic, which means we have to stick to our plan. We have to stick to the offense. We can't have wild 3-pointers because we're open right off, or we're coming off a dribble. It's a wasted possession. If in the flow of the offense you get a good look at a 3, boom, fine. You've got to play defense on. You've really got to make those guys work on the defensive end. I'm talking Milwaukee Bucks. You got to make the Greek Freak work on defense. He's the former defensive player of the year. He don't care. He'll play defense, but make him play it. Make Chris Middleton chase you all around. Make Drew Holiday chase you all around. Drew Holiday is a great defensive player, perimeter player. Great. Make him chase your ass around the court. You're good. I know it, but guess what? Catch me, Mother Hubbard. Catch me. Because I'm coming around this screen, then I'm coming around another screen, then I'm running baseline off another screen, then I'm setting a screen. Oh, damn, you got switched off on a big. Mouse in the house. It's not that difficult. And Cornelius, you hit it right in the head. Okay? There are certain times, and we've said, how many times have I said it? Ivan, we've talked about when you're playing basketball with your little cousin, all right, and you got him in the post. What do? You scream, ball, ball, ball. You scream till everybody can hear it because you know you have a mismatch. Vooch has to do that. And more importantly, they got to get him the ball because here's what's going to happen. You get a mismatch. You get a Drew Holiday, he gets switched off on Vooch. Guess what? Now Vooch got height advantage. Vooch needs to go right down to the post, start backing him in, and get ready for that dish. Get ready to facilitate because you know what? They understand. They're going to collapse on him. And Vooch has to find the open 3-point shooter. Billy Donovan's got to do a great job of getting these guys ready for this. Billy Donovan's had issues in the playoffs. That's him in the regular season his coaching hasn't been an issue. It's always when he gets to the playoffs. He hasn't won the big one yet. Well, I don't think he's going to win the big one this year, but I think he can get this team ready and be competitors for the next couple of seasons. But I want to see him make adjustments. I want to see him give this team, the Bulls, who are definitely undermanned. They're out of their leader with Lonzo Ball. They aren't as talented, or I shouldn't say they don't have the height of a Milwaukee team. I want to see this team play like their hair's on fire. Diving for the loose balls, boxing out every single time. Picking up 3/4 court on defense. Make things difficult for this Milwaukee Bucks team. Ric Flair always said in his interviews, to be the man, you got to beat the man. Well, guess what? You know who the man is right now? The defending champs, and they're in your way. They're in your way. Do you have what it takes? Do you have the desire? And it's not just the desire. Do you have the discipline to do what's necessary? Do you? Do you have the discipline to say, I'm going to block out? Every shot, I'm finding somebody to box out. I'm going to close out on all shots. If it's my guy and I'm on a switch and wide open 3-point, wide open shot, I'm closing out on shooters. How disciplined are you? How disciplined are the Bulls going to be? Patrick Williams, you had a great game. 35 points the other day. Last regular season game. Okay. Can you still be an offensive force? We know you're going to be a defensive force. You're going to put you on the Greek Freak. Make him work on defense. Make him work and he's on defense. You know, I get emotional, Armando, because there are certain ways to play the game. And sometimes they don't play the game properly because of the extreme talent that they have. I'm talking NBA players. But if you go back to the fundamentals, guess what? Things work out for you. Things fall into place. So are the Bulls disciplined enough to play their game? Even if Milwaukee's trying to make a run? That's when you have to you're forced to play your game even more. And if you're saying what kind of game? Well, I just said it. Start through Vooch. Okay. Let him go on Robin Lopez. He might be able to get a couple fouls on him. Okay. And if somebody collapses, Vooch, you get the ball right to the person whose man collapsed.
Win, lose, or draw, Grayson Allen's getting a shot to the chops. Like, I mean, he has to. Like, there's, you know what I'm saying? Like, there's still got to be. I know you got to carry yourself with, as a professional. But hey, go bad boys on them. Fuck it. You know what I mean? Go a little bad boys on them. Don't go out intentionally hurting him. Anybody but him. A little slap to the chops. Just real quick, one time, and then see you later.
I'm okay with it, Ivan. I'm more than okay with it because that thug, all right, that goon needs to be out of the NBA. All right, and if you happen to come across if your elbow happens to introduce itself to his orbital socket, oh well. Okay, I'm more than okay with that. Call me whatever you want to call me, but I'm more than okay with that. All right, you don't go in this league. You don't try and hurt people. Okay. You're all trying to make money. You're all making, most of you are millionaires, if not all of you are millionaires, playing for $1 million contracts. And to hurt somebody and to stop them from making an income and from providing for their family when it's maliciously, yeah, no. I should say when it's malicious, no, that's BS. So if he happened to catch an elbow to the bridge of the nose, I don't care. And I don't talk like that about people. When you're a cheap shot, okay, then you deserve all the smoke that comes with being a cheap shot. So Grayson Allen, protect your neck. And that's pun intended with my next guest coming up. Protect your neck.
That was a nice segue. That was a nice transition.
So my next guest is a guy that you Cub fans are going to want to hear. He's one of the best guys who covers the Cubs that I've seen in the city. You're gonna want to listen to him. He's over at CubsInsider.com. Evan Altman is going to join us on the other side. And is this just smoke and mirrors? Is it just a lucky break, or is this just a Chicago Cubs team playing good fundamental baseball? We're going to find out on the other side. So keep it locked right here, guys. Evan Altman from Cubs Insider joining me next, right here on Shawn and Maya in the morning on SportsZone Chicago.
In the hole, jump throw, Nico! Oh, what a play! Nico Horner showing off the arm wearing number 2, and the guy that made that play special and famous, Derek Jeter, and what a heck of a play there.
AutomotiveMap.com presents the Sports Flash on the SportsZone Chicago.
Going back is Marisnik back toward the left field fence, and that ball is going to be a home run. His second of the day. Suzuki has done it again.
The action on the Cubs radio network 2-1 the win over the Pirates on Tuesday. Say it's Suzuki with a pair of home runs. He connected for leadoff shots in the 5th and the 7th. The series continues today. Righty Kyle Hendricks starts for the Cubs against Pirates righty Zach Thompson. The White Sox nipped the Mariners 3-2. Louis Robert with his first home run of the season, a tie-breaking drive in the 6th to win it. Chicago extended their winning streak to 3 games with a victory in their home opener. The Sox will send left-hander Dallas Keuchel to the mound today against 2021 American League Cy Young Award winner Robbie Ray. NHL last night, the LA Kings beat the Blackhawks 5-2 at United Center. For lightning fast sports updates, download the Score app. It's free and one of the most popular sports apps in North America. I'm Chuck Sanders. That's the Sports Flash on the SportsZone Chicago.
This is the feeling you get when you have a dedicated Fidelity Wealth Planner looking at your full financial picture. Someone working with you on a flexible, comprehensive wealth plan based on your goals, helping you balance risk and reward. It's being able to enjoy today because you have a plan for the future. This is the planning effect from Fidelity. Learn more at fidelity.com/wealth. Investment minimums apply. Fidelity Brokerage Services, LLC.
At Tub of Towels, we started with the toughest messes and quickly realized Tub of Towels heavy-duty cleaning wipes can clean just about anything, like stubborn brake dust, spilled paint, even permanent marker. There's literally thousands of uses. Proudly made in the USA with over 35,000 5-star reviews. Find Tub of Towels heavy-duty cleaning wipes at your local auto parts store, the Home Depot, Lowe's, and more. Look for the big yellow tub.
Seiya Suzuki homered back in the 5th inning. That's the only run of the game.
This one drilled in the air left field, way back there, and he's done it again. Seiya Suzuki goes yard, and it is 2-0.
This guy is legit. It is real. Welcome back to Shawn and Maya in the morning on SportsZone Chicago. That was Seiya Suzuki, an excellent courtesy of the Marquee Network, and big two-homer game for Suzuki. His first 2 multi-homer game in the bigs, and he's looking like everything and then some, better than advertised. This dude is really getting the job done. And my next guest, man, we're going to talk about it, and I can't wait to hear his thoughts on this dude, because this dude seems like he's the real deal. Guys, you can find my next guest. He is the editor-in-chief of CubsInsider.com. Good friend, and believes that and knows that Wu-Tang is forever. You can find him on Twitter at @Evan Altman. Guys, let's welcome back to Shawn and Maya, Evan Altman. Evan, what's up, Papa? How are you?
Hey, it's a bit rainy. The weather could be a little bit nicer. I was hoping to have a baseball game tonight for my son. I don't think that's going to happen. So we got the Cubs this afternoon, and they're looking pretty darn good. And hey, that's they're putting together some games right now with a style of play that is different from what we've seen in the past, and a lot of new faces. And it's kind of hard to know for sure what's real, but it looks like the plans that they put in place, slim though the margin for error may be, those plans are working out.
It's a very surprising 3-1 start. I know Pittsburgh's not a world beater, but nonetheless, the Cubs were scheduled to have or anticipated to have a rough season, a rebuilding season, and they're not as of this point. Granted, it's only 4 games in. All right, we're not putting them in the World Series yet, but they look good. Okay, they are. What they're not doing is they're not beating themselves, and that's what happens a lot of times when you get teams who are in flux or in transitions, and sometimes some teams who are even that are good, they'll beat themselves. And right now, the Cubs are not beating themselves at all.
No, they're not. And I mean, it starts, appropriately enough, I guess, with the rotation, right? The starting pitching has been very, very good. Now they were able to shorten that up because they had the rain out on Friday. They had the scheduled off day on Monday, and so Kyle Hendricks is already rolled over to start again today after opening day. But, outside of Marcus Stroman, there were a lot of questions about him. I mean, Hendricks gave up a bunch of bombs in spring training. Nobody knew really what they were going to get after giving up 31 homers last year, career high there. So you wonder, has he lost a little bit of shine? But he came out. So here's what's most impressive, and this is what's wild to me, is when Hendricks has that changeup working, I think he threw it a total of 33 times, I believe, that first game. 18 times to I think 15 times, I'm sorry, to right-handers. 12 of those were swinging strikes. So 80% swinging strike rate, right on right change. That most pitchers won't even throw a lot of times. It's changed a little bit more recently. You see more of that, but you don't see that kind of a performance from a left on left or right on right change. The way he's able to manipulate it. So if that's happening and he's shutting those guys down, similarly, yesterday's game, Drew Smiley, who, outside of the short 2020 season, had actually pitched a reverse splits, was worse against lefties and righties, gave up nothing. They mostly stacked the lineup against him, but he was able to get a bunch of ground balls. That's something different from what he's done. And so, they've so far, it looks like they're doing some of these things with these pitchers and working into their strengths, finding some new little leverage points to make the most out of what otherwise looks on paper like a pretty pedestrian pitching staff, but they've made the most of it through 4 games.
Well, pedestrian, no way. This is the 4th straight game where they've gotten 5 innings from their starter. That's unheard of, especially because of the shortened spring training, the inability to ramp it up and really get their body ready for the season. All 4 games have had pitchers, the starting pitchers have gone 5 innings. That's huge if you can continue that without getting anybody injured. That's really huge.
It is. And I mean, a lot of that comes down to being efficient right there. We saw that. Part of the reason they were able to beat the Brewers is because, despite that was what was really tough. You go into that Brewers matchup, you got the Cy Young winner, the 5th place Cy Young finisher, and then Freddie Peralta, who strikes out everybody on earth. But those pitchers were not efficient, right? They're getting deep into counts. And you see that a lot with strikeout guys anyway, but Corbin Burns set records last year because of how many strikeouts he had gotten without a walk, right? I mean, this guy was an elite strike thrower. He was off his game. Brandon Woodruff, very similar, couldn't find the zone. Peralta, a little bit better, but, they're making these guys work. And then conversely, on the other side, the Cubs pitchers are being very, very efficient. They're not putting a lot of free base runners on there. And there's a lot to be said for that. If you can jump on a team early, or if you feel as a pitcher, if your offense is giving you some early runs or grinding down your opponent, right, you're able to go out there with a lot more confidence. And that means a tremendous amount, especially when you go out there on the road. And if your team can get out to a bit of a start, we've only seen, 1 road game. The Cubs weren't able to get anything started early there, but it's still just very, very helpful. Just mentally, and I think for the team in general, right, to feel like, and I want to be careful about this. This is in no way, shape, or form comparing this team to the 2016 team in terms of talent or outlook or anything like that. But you're in the early goings, seeing a team that is capable of grinding down opposing pitchers and kind of eventually imposing their will over the course of the game, and that is something similar to what we saw in 2016. Without as much dynamic offensive capacity, they've got sort of that same mindset where we're just going to eventually beat you. We're just going to have to grind you down. If we don't, score 10 runs right away, we'll score a couple late. We're good. Pitching staff will hold us. And I think they're going about it with a great mentality.
Guys, we're joined by Evan Altman from CubsInsider.com, talking Cubs baseball right here on Shawn and Maya in the morning on SportsZone Chicago. Where do they get that mentality? Does that go right directly back to David Ross?
I think that's a big part of it. Yeah, I know a lot of people were, I think, skeptical, to say the least, when he was hired. I actually liked it at the time, just given where the organization was. And he kind of brings some of that attitude. I think part of it, is you've got this mix of, there are some veterans who have been there for a little while, who've been around the game in general, if not with the organization, who, obviously there's a lot of pride there. But I think you've also got a lot of these young guys who are coming up, who are getting a shot for the first time, or maybe not so young, right? If we're talking about Frank Schwindel and Patrick Wisdom and guys like that who've been kind of blocked, and now they're pushing 30, or into their 30s, and really finally getting that chance. And so I think you do have a lot of these guys who feel like they've deserved a shot. They're finally getting a chance to do that. And darn it, they're going to take advantage of it. Or young guys who just don't know any better, who don't care that they're not supposed to be very good yet. In that regard, I almost, again, I'm going to make another bad comp and look at that 2015 Cubs team that was not supposed to be as good as what they were, but they kept bringing up these young guys who, again, they're fired up. They're seizing their opportunity. Nobody really expected much from them, and they used that to their advantage, right? Because other teams kind of overlooked them a little bit. So you do have a bunch of guys who people don't really know about yet. There's no book out on a lot of these guys. And so, again, they're able to just go with it, and they don't know what they don't know. They don't, all of us who think we're smart thought they were going to be pretty bad, but nobody comes up to the majors thinking like, yeah, I'm going to be a mediocre player. I'd love to play for a team that gets about 70 wins. That'd be cool. Nobody comes up thinking that. So you've got a team full of those guys now.
Suzuki has been everything and then some. Talk to me about his performance. I know he's not a true rookie. He's just a rookie here in Major League Baseball, but he's had a career overseas. This guy is a professional hitter from the short sample size that I've seen. Tell me how good this guy can be this season.
Yeah, I mean, I think we're starting to see it. Again, I mentioned yesterday's game. The only offense they had was 2 solo shots from Suzuki. So now he's got 3 home runs on the season, which, interestingly enough, is the same number of swinging strikes that he has on the season. The guy has only swung and missed at 3 pitches. He's only swung. Yeah, he's only swung at 1 pitch outside of the zone so far. I don't know what the numbers were from yesterday. Through the first series, he had seen 29 pitches outside of the zone. He took 28 of them, swung at 1. And the one that he swung at was a single. So he's clearly got an impeccable understanding of the zone. He's got great bat control. We saw him early on in spring, and initially he struck out. I was at the game. His debut with the Cubs, struck out twice, but they were both on questionable pitches. You think, well, hey, if those are correct calls, he's probably still in that at bat. And then we saw him reduce his leg kick a little bit to adjust to higher velocity. He clearly has a great understanding of how to hit, how to take a major league plate appearance, and the power is something I'm a little bit surprised by, to see it manifest to this extent so early. I'd kind of wondered how that would translate. But I think the obvious part is, hey, is he going to keep hitting 3 home runs every 4 games? No. But when you have that kind of patience, and again, as I mentioned, when you're forcing these pitchers to throw you 5, 6, 7, 8 pitches in an at bat, eventually you're going to get something you like. You're going to start figuring out what they throw. And that's going to help not only you, but the guys behind you. So even if the power doesn't continue to that extent, he's going to be able to draw his walks. He's going to be able to shoot little singles through to the opposite field. And you just got to love what that guy brings, as like the energy that's there, and the fact that he's this new face who's got all kinds of enthusiasm. That stuff's contagious. So I know a lot of people don't really, not down with like the vibes and chemistry and stuff like that. But over the course of 162 games, man, you got to find something that gives you an advantage, something that keeps you going, right, when you've played 32 games in 33 days. And so having somebody like that, who's that little pick-me-up, who's got the smile on his face, who brightens your day just a little bit more, man, that's helpful. I don't care what anybody might think to the contrary. And I know we have all the numbers that say all kinds of different things, and I love numbers, but I love me some chemistry and some good vibes as well.
I couldn't agree more. People definitely understate that. To win games like they're winning, okay, they've been in close games, 2-1 yesterday, okay, you can't make any errors, right? You cannot extend an inning for an opposing team. It doesn't matter. These are all big leaguers. You give them extra outs, it will come back to bite you in the ass. The Cubs defense hasn't been doing that. The Cubs defense has been very strong. Cubs defense has been very solid. They've been fundamentally sound. And for me, that's a huge part of team. And I talked about it earlier, especially I was talking to about the Bulls before you came on. And I said, if you just play fundamentally sound basketball, you got a chance against Milwaukee, the Bucks. This Cubs team, we talked about them not shooting themselves in the foot and not losing games. Talk to me about their defense and how it's helped them start off with a 3-1 record.
Yeah, I mean, you showed the clip in between. I got to watch that again of Nico Horner making the kind of Derek Jeter-esque, deep in the hole jump throw. Looked like a stronger arm than Jeter because he fired that thing over there. There was no hop or anything, and that's a little bit of a surprise because early on, one of the knocks on Horner was that he might not have the range or the arm. I mean, Derek Jeter's living proof that you don't need to have range to play shortstop for a long, long time in the majors. But that arm and showcasing that, that's a tough play to make. But I think taking that aside, it's as you mentioned, it's little things. It's not always, and I don't want to blaspheme here and have a lot of people upset at me, but Javier Baez did an incredible job of making these highlight reel plays that probably nobody else makes. But it did seem at times as if there were, the routine play or two here and there that just, whether that's a lack of focus or just knowing that it's routine, and then you see that ball biff off your glove, or you sail a throw. Lord knows we saw Addison Russell sail plenty of throws over there, despite what otherwise should have been an incredible major league tool set, in addition to some other things that we won't deal into here. But it's not about making those spectacular plays all the time. They just look like they've got a solid group that goes out there, they make the outs they're supposed to make, and they don't commit they don't try to do too much. They haven't tried to so far. And that's really one of the things, like, you see that so often with a lot of guys who try too hard, right? They make the catch, and then they feel like they're going to go pick this guy off, and they overdo it. Now that the throw gets airmailed, and that run comes into score anyway. So it's no good if you just make the play and then can't make the throw. They seem to know exactly what their roles are, to play within themselves, and just to be smart about the way they're going about baseball. And I don't want to say that's a big change from the past, but I do think at times guys would press a little bit and think that I've got to make this play right now to win this game. It's like, man, it's the third inning. You know what I mean? Like, put that ball in your pocket. Let's save that throw for another time. So I like what they're doing so far on that front.
It is fun to watch. And now we have two baseball teams, the 3-1 records, atop their divisions. And again, it's a little different. You guys were you're in a transition year. You're 3-1. We're anticipated to go deep and contend. We're 3-1. So it's good to see both teams in Chicago get off to a good start. Talk to me about the bullpen, because across baseball, pitchers really aren't going very, very deep into the playoffs. And with that being said, I know you guys just went for all 4 games with at least 5 innings, but this bullpen is going to be counted on soon. There's going to be a time where you're only going 3, you're only going maybe 4, 3+, and the bullpen is going to be worked on, going to be leaned on. Talk to me about that and how you see this bullpen being able to hold up when their number's called early.
Yeah, I mean, I think what you're seeing so far, and they haven't had to lean on them as heavily as you mentioned. We're going to start seeing that, as those games pile up, as the weather starts clearing up a little bit more, and you're not getting those little off days in there. You start having to back up against some double headers, that sort of thing. But when you look at the way this was constructed, and despite having Wade Miley is just kind of restarting a throwing program now, he was expected to be one of the starters. Alec Mills dealing with the lower back strain, he was supposed to be in that starting rotation. So they've had to backfill it with some guys, but part of having this 28-man roster right now allows them to not only, knowing they were going to go in at least without Miley, they were able to stretch out some of those relievers. So you had, Jesse Chavez getting out to throw in 3 innings. You've got Keegan Thompson in there who could roll into being a starter, but who has worked in relief. He'll be unavailable. Well, he's appealed the suspension. He'll be supposedly unavailable because of a little bit of beanball action there against the Brewers. But that's another guy. You've got Corey Abbott, who's waiting in the wings in AAA, who they had start on Sunday in case they need him for the weekend against the Rockies. So there are a few different contingencies, but what it comes down to, again, I talked about being efficient. They've got a bunch of guys in this bullpen, and this is something people have been waiting for a long time. You can go back, and I've written about it multiple times about Jed Hoyer and or Theo Epstein before him, talking about needing guys who throw strikes. You just need to have guys come in and not walk batters. And I know how basic that sounds, but the Cubs have lacked that. A lot of teams sit there and look like the last thing you can have is a guy come in a tight game in the 7th inning, walk the leadoff batter. Too many times it comes back to bite you. And they've got this mix. You've got Michael Givens who's in there. He looked good. He gave up a bomb last night, but struck out 3. You got David Robertson coming in there. Again, experience with multiple teams, including on the South Side, right? They've got some guys who have seen some experience in the AL and NL. I think that's helpful now that you've got a designated hitter in the National League, right? You do have actually a more static lineup a little bit, which is kind of interesting. And then you've got guys like Ethan Roberts who's coming up, as a rookie and just getting pitching ninja highlights every time he goes out there. So when you start to establish that and you start to get the cadence, those guys at the back end of that pen, whether it's Robertson kind of looks like he's maybe going to be the closer, Roberts, right? They got a lot of the Roberts and Robert's son. So I don't know if David is Ethan's actual son or what. Well, I don't know. But those guys then slot in, and man, that makes it so much easier. When you know who's getting the ball in the 7th, 8th, 9th, that gives you a ton of leeway then in between that hey, if I got to pull my starter a little bit early, I got this other guy who can give me 2 to 3, and all I got to do is get it to 7, and we're good, and I'm set. And I think we're seeing that start to establish. So the pen right now is a strength of the team, and I think, honestly, with some of the young guys they've got ready to come up, it's going to continue to be a dynamic unit that people are going to be there's going to be a lot of guys in there that I think that people can cheer for the next several years coming out of that pen.
Guys, we're with Evan Altman from CubsInsider.com talking Cubs baseball right here on Shawn and Maya in the morning on SportsZone Chicago. You mentioned guys coming up. Who do they have ready to come up and contribute?
Yeah, I mean, one of them. So Caleb Killian is a guy starter who they got from the Giants as part of the Chris Bryant trade. He's in AAA now. Really looked good in the Arizona Fall League. Was dominant there. You're talking about a guy with mid to upper 90s velocity, some great breaking stuff. Just developed a curveball. The changes there. I think that's someone who you could look at. We talked about that rotation being kind of in flux, particularly on the back end. If he looks good the first half, I think you see him. Ben Leeper was an undrafted free agent in 2020. Made his way all the way up to AAA. That's where he's at now. Again, he's been pretty dominant in that role so far. So I think those are probably the two that you look at. Manuel Rodriguez is a guy who was up last year for a while. He's at AAA. Again, another guy who touches 100. And then Braylon Marquez, who is kind of the long-awaited, Sox fans got to see him for an inning at the very end. He pitched there. He and Garrett Crochet actually both pitched in that game, and neither of them has had a lot of good luck with staying healthy over these last couple years. But Marquez is, again, big lefty, triple-digit heat, nasty slider, nasty changeup, and a guy who again could come up if they can get him back on track. So there are some, and then beyond that, I think what you're seeing with their overall pitching development is over these next 2 to 3 years, you're really going to start seeing guys be able to come up through the system and start to contribute, which is something that was completely lacking, really prior to last year. For almost the first 10 years of that Theo Epstein, Jed Hoyer regime there, pitching development was a big black hole in the organization, but that's changing fast.
Are you okay with that brouhaha, pun intended, with Milwaukee where they threw at McCutchen, or where he got hit, I should say, and he was a little salty about it? But are you okay with that? Because the Brewers have hit them 27 times, most in baseball. Cubs just got fed up. They're tired of the bullshit, and they retaliated, which is why the pitcher got suspended. But are you okay with that, with them hitting McCutchen?
I struggle with it just because I don't like, and this is far from kind of the old school. I don't like throwing at guys, especially now when you try. And it depends. I mean, if you're going to plunk a guy with a curveball or whatever that's going 72 miles an hour, that's not a big deal. But as hard as these guys throw anymore, and that's what's really difficult when you see how often the Brewers are doing it, and it may not be intentional that they're trying to hit someone, but they're absolutely trying to bust guys inside, and they know very well that being hit by that pitch is a very possible consequence of it. It's happened enough, and I think Wilson Contreras is like 12 of those hit by pitches out of 27, right? He's been hit multiple times. The first 2 games of the season he was hit, right? So Kutch is getting salty about it when you're like, dude, the guy catching right behind you has already been hit twice by your guys. Like, the Cubs have been hit 3 times. Ian Happ had been knocked out of the game because he was hit on the knee earlier in the pitch. So, I think there's some perspective that's lacking there. And I think that's kind of the troublesome part, right? Is it, while I don't advocate throwing at someone, I also think that there's a line that has to be drawn. If the league is refusing to enforce the protocols that it has put in place, and this is right, MLB has publicly said they want to eliminate as much of this stuff as possible. But when a guy gets booted for 3 games, when the manager gets suspended for a game for hitting one player, when you're up 9-0 versus another team who's hit 5 players or 4 players in 2 games and has done this repeatedly for several years, and it's clearly a pattern of, again, maybe not illicit intent or explicit intent, but again, if you can't control that stuff inside and you continue to throw inside, there's got to be something done about that, in my opinion. I don't know what the result is and how they get to that, but I just don't like the whole thing. It just seems it feels like if I wrote about this, if I were to punch you and then you shove me back in response and someone comes and kicks you out of the place wherever we are, maybe we're having a beer, right? And I just slug you and you shove me and they the bouncer throws you out of the bar for shoving me because you did a second. Like, well, he punched me. Yeah, but you know what? We saw you. We didn't see him do it. We saw you do it.
Second guy always gets caught.
It's always the second guy that gets caught with the flag, right? And so it's like, whoa, hold on. We've got this all on replay, right? It's not as if, but I guess that's where I'm at on it. And I think it's good to protect your guys. I just wish it wasn't really necessary. I wish there was some way that the league could police it themselves so the players don't have to take matters into their own hands.
I'm a little different than you. I'm all for it. And here's why. All right. You're going to have teams who cross the line or who toe the line, cross it. All right. That needs to be nipped in the bud.
Habitual line steppers.
Yes. Those type of people. And unfortunately, sometimes you have to stoop to their level to get your point made. Not all the time, but sometimes.
Mm-hmm.
And, you hit one of ours, you'd best be sure that your stud player is going to get hit. And you know it. He knows it. So when he goes up to the bat, up to the box, he better be ready because you don't want your star player being injured with a knee injury because he got plunked on a knee or a torque issue if he gets in the back and he can't really swing. Who knows what it is? Gets hit in the hand, breaks a knuckle. All these type of things happen. So if you do this to us, guess what? I am a little old school. Then you know what? We're gonna hit one of your batters. Okay, let's play this, and I'm okay with it, because someone's going to get hurt, and it's going to stop when you stop throwing at our players. You stop hitting our players. Now, if you hit a team, twice a year, once today and then once, in August, okay, fine, I can see that because you would have had a lot of other games, but not at the rate that the Milwaukee Brewers have hit the Cubs. I know I'd get pissed, and I know the old coach would be like, well, just beat them, and that's important. Okay, but that's not as important because here's the lack of respect. And what if they hit one of your guys and he's out? Well, now you're screwed. Now you're really screwed, and no one's taking. And MLB hasn't done anything to them. They haven't policed the situation in a way that they need to. So you know what? I feel vigilante justice is, and I could be wrong if you call me a meathead, and some people won't agree with it. That's cool, but sometimes you just gotta go that route to say, hey, enough is enough.
Sometimes it's important to intentionally hit a guy on the back foot when you've got a perfect game going, right? Throw a back foot slider, hit him on the back of the foot, and then lose your perfect game. No, but that's never happened to anyone in Chicago before. But no, but there are times, again, though, in a situation like that, right? It's unintentional then. Like nobody's trying to hit a guy to blow their own perfect game.
Yeah.
But in the case of it, we saw it with the Pirates a few years back when they were a little bit more competitive and they did a lot of headhunting. That was under Clint Hurdle. And you would see that happen a lot. There is a point at which you've got to say, hey, enough is enough. And that's where I'm at. If the league is not going to do it, somebody has to, right? You can't just let it happen because then eventually someone's going to get hurt. And that was the case. It's bothersome to me to see, hey, the Cubs did this. McCutchen was fine. It's a little bit weird that he got salty about it. He should have known it was coming.
Yeah.
But if Ian Happ, and again, you were talking about Grayson Allen before heading into the break. Again, if this is a dude who's hurting other people, there's a point at which I'm almost like looking the other way. Like you club that dude right across the head when he's coming through. Like, hey, man, you've been doing this for years. I mean, we're talking about going all the way back to your day. And I'm sure it was in high school too, right? Like you've got it coming. You should know that you're going to get this happening to you. And if you're going to hurt another player, if you're literally going to knock a guy out for weeks because of your actions, you better go ahead. I mean, you better put on all your body armor when you step into the box the next time because you're going to take one. And I guess that's what bothers me is like the Brewers are clearing the bench. Like, what are you doing? Like you knew this was coming. And I guess that's where I come off a little bit weird, but it is, I guess it's a little bit weird too that, Andrew McCutchen at this stage in the game is kind of their player who they're sort of proving a point against, if Yelich wasn't coming up, but hey, more power to him. Brewers can still hang out with their no World Series titles, and that's fine.
Oh, parting blow. Shot for the road. I love it. Hey, Evan, great stuff, buddy. I appreciate it, man. I love having you on. I appreciate it all the time. Do me a favor, though. Let everybody know where they can find you and your work online.
Absolutely. Come check me out at CubsInsider.com. If you're searching for us, we got the Facebook page. Just look for Cubs Insider. Twitter at Real Cubs Insider, and if you go search YouTube, we've got all kinds of video clips and shows and podcasts out there for you as well. So just again, look for Cubs Insider. We're everywhere.
Great stuff, buddy. We'll be in touch soon.
All right, thank you.
All righty, guys. That's Evan Altman from CubsInsider.com. Love talking with him, man. He's one of the more knowledgeable people. He's, as much of a Cub fan as he is, he keeps it real. He's not a homer. He's not a meathead. He's not, he's really in tune with what's going on. And I love the information that we get from him, because I know that it's valid. It's not just coming from a place of fandom, like, oh yeah, my Cubs are great, you suck. He does one hell of a job of breaking down this Cubs team, and he's a guy you definitely need to follow. Evan Altman on Twitter for him, and CubsInsider.com. Real Cubs Insider. You're going to want to check that out. Those are Twitter accounts. So make sure you do that, because if you're a Cub fan, that's one dude and one platform that you're definitely going to want to follow.
Yeah, no doubt. And it's like I'm watching the Cubs now, and I'm getting excited. I'm watching the pregame. I'm just like, man, what if this team just, like I said, nothing crazy, no expectations, something like 15. I remember I had a saying in 15. I was living out in Washington State back then, and I had to say, it's like, I expect everything out of this team and nothing. You know what I mean? Everything out of this team, and I expect nothing, because they're the Cubs. You know what I mean? Sometimes the Cubs become the Cubs, and you're like, hey, what can you do? You know what I mean? There's no real – there are bandwagon fans, don't get me wrong, but if you're a real Cubs fan, there's only one way to go. Like, there's no being a homer. It's just you're always a Cubs fan. You know what I mean? Win or lose, we're always there. We're always showing up, even if it's a party.
Listen, we got to take a quick break, and on the other side of the break, we got some Bears talk. Let's talk a little Bears, baby. The draft is coming up, and I'm excited, man. I'm looking forward to it. Trust me, it can't get here fast enough. So, guys, little Bears talk on the other side of the break. Keep it locked right here. Shawn and Maya in the morning on SportsZone Chicago.
AutomotiveMap.com presents the Sports Flash on the SportsZone Chicago.
Going back is Marisnik back toward the left field fence, and that ball is going to be a home run. His second of the day. Suzuki has done it again.
The action on the Cubs radio network 2-1 the win over the Pirates on Tuesday. Seiya Suzuki with a pair of home runs. He connected for leadoff shots in the 5th and the 7th. The series continues today. Righty Kyle Hendricks starts for the Cubs against Pirates righty Zach Thompson. The White Sox nipped the Mariners 3-2. Louis Robert with his first home run of the season, a tie-breaking drive in the 6th to win it. Chicago extended their winning streak to 3 games with a victory in their home opener. The Sox will send left-hander Dallas Keuchel to the mound today against 2021 American League Cy Young Award winner Robbie Ray. NHL last night, the LA Kings beat the Blackhawks 5-2 at United Center. For lightning fast sports updates, download the Score app. It's free and one of the most popular sports apps in North America. I'm Chuck Sanders. That's the Sports Flash on the SportsZone Chicago.
This is the feeling you get when you have a dedicated Fidelity Wealth Planner looking at your full financial picture. Someone working with you on a flexible, comprehensive wealth plan based on your goals, helping you balance risk and reward. It's being able to enjoy today because you have a plan for the future. This is the planning effect from Fidelity. Learn more at fidelity.com/wealth. Investment minimums apply. Fidelity Brokerage Services, LLC.
At Tub of Towels, we started with the toughest messes and quickly realized Tub of Towels heavy-duty cleaning wipes can clean just about anything, like stubborn brake dust, spilled paint, even permanent marker. There's literally thousands of uses. Proudly made in the USA with over 35,000 5-star reviews. Find Tub of Towels heavy-duty cleaning wipes at your local auto parts store, the Home Depot, Lowe's, and more. Look for the big yellow tub.
It's a grown man sport. What? It's a grown man sport. Yeah, yeah. It's a grown man sport. Yeah, it's a grown man sport like that. This one going out.
Next question, Adam Hogue.
Hey, Luke. Can you give us an idea of how important the play calling aspect of this move in your career was? And if you don't mind, can you kind of run through what your play calling experience is, whether I think that would have been at the college level, but can you just kind of give us an idea of that?
Yeah, I mean, I'm assuming you're talking about, furthering your career, what play calling would do. Is that what you're alluding to right there?
Yeah, and just the opportunity to, obviously you were working under an offensive coordinator and Matt LaFleur in Green Bay, and now you're got a defensive head coach here, and this offense is
sure.
You're looking at, yeah.
Yeah, no, thanks, Adam. No, listen, the passion that I have for this game and the passion to take the reins was something that is just it's deep inside me. I think playing the quarterback position growing up and having that being the leader of the offense, playing it through college and then getting a couple opportunities, like you said, in the college level to take the reins of an offense and be the play caller. All of that stuff is just in me. It's what I love. It's the passion. And these last couple of years, Matt's been great and Coach LaFleur has been great in giving us opportunities to do that in the preseason. And so those are just things once you touch it, man, you're just like, this is the passion that I have. It's not just whatever it can become after it. It really isn't. This is just the passion that I have to be able to have an opportunity to lead men and help guide this thing and be a part of something. I really don't view this thing as just going to be Luke Getsy's offense. It's what was mentioned before. This really isn't going to be that. Okay. This is going to be a collective group doing this together.
Welcome back to Shawn and Maya in the morning on SportsZone Chicago on this Hump Day edition. Guys, I'm your boy, the Superback Shawn Sierra. Thanks for tuning in. That was Bears offensive coordinator Luke Getsy talking about the Bears' identity. He talked about his new role as the Bears offensive coordinator here, and I am excited to see what this guy does. Okay, there's a reason. There's a very good reason. Okay, that Aaron Rodgers was upset that he left. Okay, Aaron Rodgers, the league MVP, back-to-back league MVP, if I'm not mistaken. When he's upset about a staff member leaving, there you have to pause and say, well, why? Why? Okay. His creativity, his football mind is one that just can't be overlooked. When you get a guy who, in Aaron Rodgers, who has his back, why? Why is Aaron Rodgers so adamant about losing him? Why is this such a big deal? Coaches come and go all the time. Coaches come and go all the time in the NFL. Okay. But what happens is you find coaches who allow you to be you. You find coaches who are creative and give you a schematic advantage or just any advantage at all. Okay, you gravitate toward them. You get coaches who look at things a little different and get you to see things differently. You're like, oh, okay. I see what you're talking about. I've been doing it this way. Why don't I try this at times? The confidence, the trust that's built between player and coach is huge. So, here's what I can tell you. We know what kind of identity they're going to have. We know. So, some of these people, you see a lot of some writers are saying, well, what's the identity? What's this? Stop asking stupid questions. You know the answer. This is going to be a physical, in your face, shove it down your God blessed throat football team. Okay.
I think eventually. I mean, I think they could start running right out the gate, but to the degree of success, I think
Well,
eventually
you can still run. You can still punch people in the mouth and just not be successful. They just have bigger. Their punches are more powerful than yours.
Correct.
But they're setting the tone, dude. You don't sign a fullback. You don't sign a fullback and not run the ball. You don't make it known that your offensive linemen need to look a certain way if you're not going to run the ball. Matt Eberflus is coming from the Indianapolis Colts, who just had the league's leading rusher. His job is to win games. Their job is to develop Justin Fields to allow them to win games. How do you develop Justin Fields? We've talked about run the ball. Run the ball. Luke Getsy's going to be so creative. And here's one of the things that I hope that they do. I would assume they would, but you can't assume because of our last administration. But because of their incompetency or their incompetence, you would think not everybody can be that incompetent. Look what Lamar Jackson, the Baltimore Ravens did for Lamar Jackson. They went back to Louisville and said, okay, what are some of the plays that he really enjoyed? He was very successful in. And you saw they actually implemented Louisville's offense to make him comfortable. Bears, yes, they went back and they had a couple plays. Remember, we saw the Ryan Day. We know Matt Nagy and Ryan Day are friends. And, you saw the roll one way, throw back the other way. Justin Fields ran at Ohio State. He did it with the Bears. Okay, we saw that. That's cool. But you didn't change the offense to fit your quarterback. Are they going to say, okay, let's look at the stuff that Justin Fields does well? How can we use that in a run-based offense? How can we use that in a zone scheme? Okay, well, Justin Fields is athletic. Justin Fields is unbelievably fast. Justin Fields is accurate, especially on the deep ball. So how do we maximize that? Oh, here's what we do. We run the ball, inside zone, outside zone. You know what this new thing we got? We got a fullback. We'll go back and see what he did well. So if you see some of the catches that I'll tell you what they're going to run, because I saw it twice, 2 or 3 times in the highlights. It was an outside zone stretch to the left. It was a fake. It was a bootleg. Fullback starts left, takes 2 steps left, comes back underneath the offense. Quarterback rolls to his right. And now you got a fullback in the flat. That should be a staple. Off of outside zone. Off of outside lead. That should be a staple. You have an outside lead, Kari, blazing game leading the way, David Montgomery in the back, outside zone with the lead blocker, and you start getting David Montgomery 4, 5, 6 yards a pop with that, now you got problems, defense. Now you got some problems because you know that's coming. You know what's coming. Or you could even have a tight end wing to the left. Run the outside zone and have the tight end come back underneath. There's so many different things you can do. The identity is there. It's there. It's being said. It's being told to you. It was told to you when they drafted Kari Blasingame. It was told to you. So now the big question is, what is Ryan Poles going to do in the draft? All right. Me and Ivan have different thoughts on it. You know what? I don't believe me. If I knew what they were doing, or put it this way, I wish I was in that room because I'd be very adamant about a playmaker.
You could do a couple mock drafts. I'm messing with you.
I know you are.
I'm just busting your balls.
If you didn't get it, guys, I talked about how much I hate mock drafts. So I hate him. That's why.
You know what? In the draft, like I said, I'm open to about 3 positions now. Because you're looking at pass rusher, on top of, if the rumors are true with Robert Quinn, and it's a big if, because he's a good pass rusher in his own right. You know what I'm saying? Like, he's just broke a record last season. Depending on which, it depends on some of the moves still. But I think wide receiver is the number 1. I think our number 2 pick, but then the first pick that the Bears take in the second round, I just feel you've invested in the offensive line. I mean, you've laid down the foundation. There's a deep crop of players, offensive line, defensive, pass rush, and wide receiver. Why don't you take the best one of the position of the playmakers and go ahead, because you have coach. They have talent, right? You said coaches also play a part. Coaches have to coach up their players. So if you get and there's like I said, deep class of offensive linemen. You get a couple of those guys later, and you invest in, let's say, wide receiver and corner. You get the best 2 athletes there, and then you go find some bodies that fit your system, that can move, that are agile, that could run on the offensive line. Maybe find find a pass rusher in the later rounds. It could be like, and I'm just speculating. This is all bullshit. You know what I mean? It's all BS. But like, it's something that I see the Bears could do, but who knows, Shawn? Like I said, there's a million fucking mock drafts out there that are, and not saying that they're bad or good. It's just, we don't know what's going in the head of Ryan Poles right here, right now. I don't even know if they're done making moves. They just signed a young former Baltimore Raven to a 1-year deal.
Nickelback,
yeah. So like I said, the Bears and Ryan Poles, what they're doing is laying the foundation for what the future is, and that's just pretty much it. You can't have a fractured foundation to start your tenure as a GM. I think Ryan Poles understands that and doesn't want that to happen to him.
Yeah, I agree. And I'm anxious to see who's there. We've talked about it ad nauseum. What wide receivers there? And I'm watching this guy, and so you're looking at Tyler Smith, edge rusher. Is that, I would assume, Alan, an edge rusher, Tyler Smith, or corner. But anyway, I am adamant, Alan, I should say. I'm very adamant, Alan, about a wide receiver or a tackle. Okay. I'm adamant. Okay. Because we still don't know. And we've talked about it, how I think that you can use Tevin Jenkins and Larry Borom, okay, at the left and right tackles. Tevin left, Larry right. Okay. You're going to run the ball. Is Larry Borom going to get down into a specific? If Larry Borom can do the get to that physical, the eye test that Poles has, is he going to be stubborn enough to say, well, you're not at X amount of percent body fat? Because you got to watch him play. You got to watch them play. Can he play at a level in a situation where his body type isn't exactly what you want, isn't ideal for you, but he gets the job done? Because there's one thing you talked about, and I'm talking to you, Ryan Poles. You talked about you want guys who love the game. Okay? Well, first of all, let's see how much they love the game. Because if Larry Borom starts making changes. Now, listen, you're not going to do that in one offseason. That's a very dangerous thing, depending if he was 320 pounds, 330 pounds. For him to lose 30 or 40 pounds in an offseason is dangerous. You know this. But if he's getting down there and he's looking more svelte and he's able to run and move and his weight isn't an issue, then you can say, okay, by next year, fine. Watch how much he loves the game by what he does when you ask him to do. Cut your diet out or alter your diet. That's huge. How much do you love the game? Okay, this is what coach needs me to do. Here's what I'm going to do. Because if you ask me,
that's the least you could do. That's the minimum.
Because here's the thing: you want attitude. Those two sons of bitches got attitude. Those two sons of bitches like to move people. and not in a nice way. And if you're talking about setting a tone, Alan, you talked about Tyler Smith from Tulsa, nasty. Tevin Jenkins is nasty too. Larry Borum is nasty too. Okay, so put them. We talked about it. Put them in a position to be successful. Let me see you be nasty. Let me see you move people. Let me see you move our guys. Okay, because there's not a lot of tape on them from last year, and that's Nagy's fault. That son of a bitch. Okay, because he put Jason Peters in. We should have had Tevin Jenkins in. Let me see these guys in, and it's tough because you're not going to see them until after the draft. So it's like, live anyway. So do you go and you get a draft pick, a tackle, when you could get another wide receiver or an edge rusher? Because I know you can never have too many. Can never have too many offensive linemen. Okay, ever. But let's say there's a nice edge rusher. Okay, and you don't know what you got from Tevin and from Borum because they didn't have enough reps. What if you realize, oh shit, we got what we want. We got those two nasty bookends who are going to move people, who are going to do it in a not nice way, and are going to do it every play. What if you find out that's what they have, that you have, and now you say, okay, well, and I know you can never have too many linemen, but what if we could have got an impact rusher or edge rusher? So it's tough.
Yeah,
that's why I like Tyler Smith. Perfect guy to get to smash mouth type offense with Jenkins and Smith at tackle. Smith would be there in the third round. Okay, if he's in the third round, possibly, then you can go get a wide receiver. You can go get at that point the second round pick. If you can go lineman, you can go edge rusher, you can go corner, but give me that damn wide receiver. I'm like, whew. You talk about George Pickens. I'm okay with Pickens at 39. There's a few wide receivers. I'm really pissy about the Christian Watson hype train going higher and higher because now more and more teams are after him or are up on him. I really am not happy about that because I'm telling you, I know that stupid team to the north of us, directly north of us, is going to go get him, and he's going to not even change colors. I'll be pissed if they do because they got 2 first. They'll get him in the first round. He's not a first round pick, but I think he can be a playmaker. He can be, man. There's about 5 wide receivers that I'd be okay with.
And on top of that, like I said, and then the depth there at those positions, I could see. I wouldn't want to say 2 for 2, but I could see, you drafting 2 wide receivers. I could definitely see that.
Second round, both second rounders.
I could see that, or you stagger it some way somehow. It depends on what they're coveting. It depends on who they really value. And I mean, like, I feel like there's guys that could do it. Like there's guys that fit the build and the size. A lot of guys that fit the build and look the part. Can they play the part? A lot of guys have, talent. There's a lot of talent, but can they? Is it what they want? Is it exactly what they want? I think after Ryan Poles said that they value playmakers, I think wide receiver shot up to the number 1 spot, indefinitely. I don't, and it's just because of the offense. It's just because you're lacking playmakers on offense. If this was a different type of year and he said that, I'm thinking, man, maybe he's talking about a playmaker as safety. Maybe he's talking about a pass rusher that can make plays, a linebacker, playmaking. It could be it could be a bunch of different types of playmakers. But this particular season with Justin Fields, wide receiver number 1, I think is going to be the key. And I'm a guy that wanted offensive linemen. You know what I'm saying? I was like, man, find the offensive lineman. And then you've seen some of the signings come by, and then you kind of see a little bit of how they want to operate, and we'll see.
Because this draft class and wide receivers, like I could say, okay, don't do receivers. If they did too, I'm okay. I'm okay with it. But you know what? There's a guy. I've been following more and more the kid out of Memphis as well, Calvin Austin. A little shorter, but that's like your change of pace, your slot receiver, you put him on a linebacker, God forbid a linebacker or a safety. Like there's no way they're catching him. He's just there, that speed, like what Tariq Cohen should have been for us. Like he could be someone, he's 5'8". He's 5'8", so he's a shorter dude. I'm okay. I'm okay with him going in the 4th round or 5th round. I don't give me 2 wide receivers, and I don't care if there are 2 in the second, or put it this way: one better be in the 2nd round. Period. One wide receiver better be in the 2nd round. Stop it. One has to be in the 2nd round. Now, if you go 2 in the 2nd round, okay, cool. Then you better address the other needs later. But I say you can get a wide receiver in the 3rd round as well. Okay, maybe we can get my guy that I like, Christian Watson. Later, you might have John Mechie from Alabama. Remember,
people are gonna fall.
I hope so. I hope they don't. I'm worried. I'm concerned about, because there's a lot of talk about about it being a run on wide receivers. I think 8 was the most first round wide receiver. First is the most wide receivers taken in the 1st round, and this year might topple that. So that means 9, 10. Like, oh, geez. So now you're talking a third of the teams take a wide receiver in the 1st round. Like, what the hell? And then again, it might not. It might not.
It might be a run on pass rushers. It might, you know what I'm saying? The reason I'm saying too is because you got guys like, even right now, do you trust the wide receiving core with just Mooney? I mean, like I said, I like how how Pringle works, but he's going to be working, special teams as well. Why not two playmaking wide receivers? If you could get, if that's what they covet, like if that's what's available and that's what they want, I could see him doing it. The reason I think wide receiver is going to be there, a playmaking wide receiver is going to be there, is because it's just a lot of teams aren't going to buy into that hype. You know what I'm saying? That, like, we need it. You know what I'm saying? We need it. A lot of other teams don't necessarily need it. It depends on what they, like I said, what they covet, what they want. I think wide receiver is going to be there. I don't know which wide receiver is going to be there, but I'm sure the Bears are taking that with their 39th pick overall. It has to be there. You have to address it. I think you have to address it.
No, I didn't forget Sky Moore, Alan. I didn't. I'm just saying Calvin Austin was another name that got thrown in the mix for me. I was like, oh, okay, he's another name. Because there'll be 5 wide receivers, 6 wide receivers that, okay, give me one of these as our from our 39th pick, and I'm happy. Okay, then you can go, like I said, get corner, get an edge rusher, get a offensive lineman, whatever you want with your second round pick. Then your 3rd, go back to wide receiver. All right, and then here's a group of guys that I want in that 2nd tier, and that's where the Calvin Austin comes in. Maybe the Sky Moore, maybe even the Christian Watson if he falls that far.
You sure you don't want to do a mock draft show? I mean, we're basically doing one right now. It's not that hard. I feel like whatever they decide, like, you're gonna have half the Bears fans bitching. You're gonna have half the Bears fans praising. You're just gonna have a mix. It feels like I don't know. Like for me, Bears fans just seem to be split right now. There doesn't seem to be a great deal of support for Ryan Poles. There's not. I mean, it's not like he doesn't have any support, but it just seems like everybody's just kind of whatever about the dude, and kind of whatever about the Bears. Rightfully so. They haven't won shit. We'll see. I think whatever Ryan Poles decides, you're going to have a split of people that like it and don't like it. And that's just what it's going to be until the Bears win.
People have their guys. All right. People, they see, in a situation like this where there are so many options, there are going to be so many options for the Bears. All right. At 39, wide receiver. All right. You have some people who, if Ryan Poles takes George Pickens, that's Carl's dad. Carl is his dad. If they take George Pickens, like, why didn't you take John Mechie? Why didn't you take Williams from Alabama as well? Why didn't you take this guy? Why didn't you take that guy? This guy's better. This guy's better. And truth be told, unless you've actually evaluated talent, unless you know how to evaluate talent, it's just an opinion. And it's just, and that's the thing, is you're going to get no one's going to be happy with what he has because there's so many options. So even if we go corner or edge rusher, and you take a certain edge rusher, like, oh, well, you should have taken this guy out of Pitt. You should have taken this guy out of Miami or this guy out of Texas A&M. No, this guy's better because everyone has their guys. But here's the one thing that you have to understand. before we wrap it up. You have to understand this. And this is where I need you to be. I need you to be a smart fan. I need you to put your bullshit, all right, meathead Bears fandom aside. Okay? Don't get me wrong, I have my bullshit meathead Bear fandom on a lot. But I need you to put it aside right now. Here's what they're going to do. Do not just look at what they do. I'm sorry. Do not just look at what these receivers do. Do not just look at what these offensive linemen do. Do not on tape. Do not at their old school. You have to understand, do they fit this system? Do they fit the system that Luke Getsy's going to have on offense and the Bears coach Williams, I believe, on defense, the DC?
Alan Williams.
Allen. Do they fit this system? Okay. Don't think, well, he just runs real fast. Okay. Do they fit the type of system? Because that's what they're doing. That's what he's shown he's doing now in free agency. So if you can determine what system that they're running and you're familiar with it, offensively and defensively. And I know some people are like, well, I saw Lovey, so I know it. Okay, good. Good for you. Here's $1. But if you can understand that these guys, what systems they come out of, because what they're going to do, if they're getting a slot receiver, they're going to drive a slot receiver who has a similar offense to what Green Bay ran. Okay, that's the type of system they're getting their slot receiver from. Okay, because he understands his role. He's done it for 2, 3, 4 years in college. So don't just say, oh, well, he was better. Okay, this guy might be better statistically. But to fit a role, okay, if you don't believe me, look at the New England Patriots. We talked about how many Danny Whiteheads, Amendolas, Wes Welkers did they have? Same guy, different name. Same guy, different name. Okay? This is what the Bears are going to do. Same thing with their D tackle. Okay? Same thing with their edge rusher. Same thing with their cornerback. You might get a couple of bigger cornerbacks, okay, who are more apt to zone. If you're playing a cover 2, it's a cover 2 shell. Okay, this is the similar to the Tony Dungy, Lovie Smith, the Tampa 2. Okay, well, you're going to probably get some bigger corners, who sit back in zone and, have a bigger wingspan. This is what you have to understand. You can't just go on talent alone. You have to go on, because talent, if you don't have the right mindset, if you feel that you're better or you should have more effect on the offense, then you're wrong. Okay? They're getting guys to fit a system and say, hey, this is your role. How many times have we talked about good coaches say, hey, listen, this is your role? When players understand that and they accept it, that's when the player can maximize his potential, maximize his ability. So watch who they pick. If you have to understand what types of systems they run or they're going to run, and then you have to look at the type of players they're going to draft to get into those systems. And it may go down from 10 wide receivers to maybe 3 wide receivers because these 3 fit the system that they're going to run. Okay? Well, listen, we got, what a phenomenal show. 3 hours plus has come and gone. I want to thank my guys, Patrick Nolan from SoxMachine.com, calling in, talking White Sox. I want to thank my guy, Evan Altman from CubsInsider.com as well, talking Cubs baseball. Great stuff. Baseball's here, baby. We got 2 first place teams. So I also want to thank Elliot Baez, our executive producer, Clarence Counsell, our social media guy, my co-host and abstention, Maya Kai, and this guy. Oh, he's not. This guy right here, Ivan Vargas, for keeping everything.
Sorry, Suzuki's up to the plate. That's why I came. That's why I jumped off the screen.
Understandable. So for Elliot, for Clarence, and for Maya and my guy Ivan Vargas.
Peace out, guys. Remember to check out Sports 101 with Jamar Harp tonight, 8 o'clock to 9 o'clock. Check it out.
All right, cool. Well, I don't want to interrupt his Suzuki watching. So, guys, I'm your boy, the Superback Shawn Sierra. We're going to take a 43-hour break, 42-hour break, excuse me, 45-hour. I don't even know how many hours we're taking. 45-hour break. On the other side of the break, we'll see you on Friday, TGI, Mickey Ficky Friday. All right, same bat time, same bat channel, 9 a.m. to noon. Do me a favor, make sure you follow SportsZone Chicago on all social media platforms, Facebook, Instagram, and YouTube. We are at SportsZone Chicago, and on Twitter, we are at SportsZone Shy. That's CHI, SportsZone Shy. All right, guys, 2 more words for you. Have a phenomenal weekend, and these are the words. We out.